for a bit. All right, cool. A few seconds left. Welcome all. Let me get stuff ready. Well. All right. Let me. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Betterment Broadcast. I'm your host, Rap Raven. Let me quickly get the PDF that we always use. Hopefully, I can share it now. Where is it? I think I've opened it. There it is. So let me quickly get to you guys. Now, you must forgive me, family. I need to actually upload the videos we're going to show. So you have to bear with me for 17 seconds while I do that. I'm going to go mute for a bit. So let me do that. 14 seconds. Hold on. Where are we? Free. So that's one video. So you're seeing there. Let me just get the other ones. I think there's a wonderful lady who had something. Self-hate lady one. I should. The thing is, I didn't get the time to blackify stuff, so forgive me, that lady. Two. Well, mute that. All right, cool. What else we're dealing with? Didn't get time to blackify that one. Forgiveness. Is there one more video? Self-hate shots. All right, cool. I think that's everything. Yeah. All right. Let me click on that again. Nope, we don't start. And let me see if I can find the PDF. PDF. Where are we? There it is. I found it. Excellent. Oh, so good. Share screen. And then window. And then it's that one. And then we press share. And everyone, it appears. It's there. Oh, yeah. Where are we? Read mode. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Right. My machine's got a lot of software on, so it's actually making a lot of fan noise. But anyway, this is Black Bear Broadcast. This is show 83, everyone. Hope you have a good time. I'm your host, Rap Raven. After much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently Black people are collectively inadequate. Oh no, that's very bad, but we're going to try to do something about it. We're going to try to fix that. And how we're going to fix it, we're going to be talking to everyone. Bless up Empress Kushti, very good support to the show. Big up. Make sure you follow her. What I was saying, yeah. So we're going to send the link out so we can jump on. But when you do, please make sure we follow the 4D values. We have to import this now because we're getting new people. We want to make sure when they come in, they have discipline, dedication, discernment, and dignity, and they refrain from using any kind of strong language. Just if you pause the screen at the moment, you see many words that people use casually. We want to kind of weigh those out, the ones towards the left when we try to have constructive talks to Black people. Use more language towards the right, more descriptive language. I know it's hard because culturally we've been trained to be self-deprecating and that kind of stuff, but let's fix that. That's right. Cool. Excellent. Very nice. Good. So what is Black Bearman? I hear everyone say it's Black people helping Black people on Black issues for Bearman. Voila. Fantastic. Magic. Good. Fantastically good. Big up Sister Tash. Very good. A very helpful networker there. So I appreciate the hard work she puts in. Big up. Where are we? All right. So this is a lifestyle. So this entire broadcast is promoting the lifestyle of Black people helping Black people on Black issues for Bearman. I know you think, why do we need to actually make it so straightforward? But we have to because, unfortunately, for some strange reason, Black people don't tend to naturally want to help each other. Oh, dear. Not good. All right. Copyright disclaimer. I'm not going to read all that. I'm just going to say, 1976, we're using it for fair use, fair claim, fair use, all that good stuff. Yeah. Can't be able to read it. Too long. All right. Cool. So what are the solutions to the culture of Black self-hatred? All right. And how does Rwanda benefit from, the Rwanda one? Did I download that video? I should have blackified that one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blackify it while I play this one. Excellent. Cool. Oh, man, I didn't forget about that one. Shame on me twice. Do I still have it? Let me see. All right, cool. So what we're going to do, got some videos. So basically what it is, maybe I'll play it twice. I don't know. There's certain videos circulating. There's always some videos from around the world of Black people getting, saying certain things on a public platform that could be interpreted as self-hate, but they obviously present it in a way where it's like, proud or empowering or whatever it might be, but actually it's something that is not necessarily good for them or the collective benefit. And we want to be aware of this, and then we want to answer the question, what can we do to try to educate those who seem to be succumb to this kind of way of thinking. We need to really think about it. It's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem. It is, and we're going to work as a team. There's no I in team. all that kind of stuff. Good. So let's see if I've blackified a video of the collections throughout the year, and I've missed a whole load, but I've got some in there of black people, saying things that's not in our collective best interest. Let's have a listen. I try to blackify it. Hopefully, I haven't really watched the edit, so it might be a bit chippy choppy. But what are you gonna do? Sue me. Here we go.
Right now, I've never talked about this.
Ah, shit.
Forgive us for any language. Once again, we're studying people speaking, so they might talk how they do, and we don't want to promote colorless language. So, but either way, we are studying mode. Let's go.
I like to be like a runaway slave.
Okay, no.
Man, oh shit. Oh my God.
I like to play like a runaway slave.
Okay.
I like to play like a disobedient slave with a white woman.
So tell me like what you say.
Yes, master. I was sorry.
It's two of them. Like it's like me getting whooped, right?
You get whooped?
It's like I play like you whipping, but most of them don't want to play like that. This
yeah, I was gonna say, what white woman goes along with this?
They don't want to play like that. They don't.
Okay.
This is my. It's like, listen, you're gonna act like your master's wife.
And I'm the runaway.
And I just got whooped by Massa for eyeballing you. But the whole time you've been really, you liked it. You've been eyeballing me.
Oh, this sounds like some freaky porn. I'm interested.
Right, this is some freaky shit. And then I'm gonna come all sweaty, right? Just finished getting whooped, and you're gonna say, no, Billy Joe, no, Billy Joe, no. Massa's not gonna like it. He's not gonna like it. That's what you know you want to do. This is whole script. Yeah, it's whole script.
It's Flipping with Taz Daddy. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Soulja Boy's in the building. What's up, fam?
Hey, bro.
How you feeling?
Feeling great, man. The DeAndre Wade in stores right now, baby.
You better go get that joint, man. Now, let's talk about the progression, man. You came out, did your thing. Everybody in the damn world was doing a Soulja Boy. It's like the biggest thing since the Macarena. Let's talk about this new project. What's different from, your previous projects to this one?
It's different, man. Just me as an artist, man. I'm still the same hit maker, so, it's nothing to make those hits. I grow and develop more some versatile
Just gonna skip it to get to the bit.
Yeah,
we will.
I don't know.
Before you
If you're a Soulja Boy fan, like you'll know, it's not just about dancing, or it's not just about tattoo. You know what I'm saying? So I just can't really just say one straight thing that's just misconceived about me.
So this is right about where he made a slip comment. I hope it's in this video. Don't forgive me, I'm actually trying to edit the video as
now. What was the biggest shock for you? Going from being relatively unknown to being a superstar. What was the biggest shock? Like the thing you didn't expect to happen that happened for you? Like I didn't know it was like this.
Recording with 50 Cent, recording with Snoop.
Definitely mixed with something, and they would get mad. But in the Bay.
Sorry guys, that video there, I don't think I edited properly. I was actually talking and editing at the same time, and basically that Soulja Boy one, he mentioned he wants to thank he wanted to thank the Europeans for slavery because it brought him to America. So that was something that was, I couldn't see in that video. It's weird because I must edit it very wrong, but let me check. Go on.
You can meet a girl before you say her name, be like, hey, what you mixed with? And she'll probably tell you that her mama's this, her daddy's that, and mixed heritage women have always been my favorite. Like, I don't think I've ever fallen in love with a woman that wasn't mixed.
Really?
And the debate did that to me.
Really?
Because it's something you get, I feel like that way about life too. Like biracial babies are, you could take the two ugliest from different races and make a baby, and that baby just be beautiful. It happens all the time. It's laughing, but it's true.
Bruh.
You like, I know y'all didn't make that little pretty baby. And you can see the features in it though. You like, what y'all did? I see.
Your boy.
All right, so that was the rapper Too Short, a rapper who spent his career talking about pimping and this kind of stuff. And one of his personal views is with black people, as long as a black person goes with any non-black person, the child is automatically attractive, and that's always he can only fall in love with that concept. That's what he said.
Heaven Hollywood for the IE Network, and this is the Heaven Hollywood Report, and let's get to it. So, you just heard the ridiculous analogy from Too Short, legendary rapper from
We
the
can skip that. We don't need to. Thank you, bro.
I didn't necessarily understand what happened last week with the Make America Great Again hat. What are you trying to do with the message you're sending?
Well, it was really just my subconscious. It was a feeling I had, you know, like people were taught how to think, we're taught how to feel. We don't know how to think for ourselves. We don't know how to feel for ourselves. People say feel free, but they don't really want us to feel free. And I felt a freedom in, first of all, just doing something that everybody tells you not to do. I just love Trump. That's my boy. Like, you know, it's like so many rappers, you'll look at a video of Snoop Dogg loving Trump, but then he get in the office and now they don't love him. Like, Trump is one of rap's favorite people, right?
But we talk about this, that before he was elected president, people in hip hop, it was an in thing to put Donald Trump in your rhyme somewhere.
And by the way, I am in hip hop, but I'm not just in hip hop. I'm a black person in the black community, but I'm not just that. I feel like one thing is people try to minimize me to artists, hip hop, black community. Yeah, I'm always gonna represent that, but I also represent the world. When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? You know, like, it's like we're mentally in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery, Holocaust Jews, slavery is blacks. So prison is something that unites us as one race, blacks and whites being one race, that we're the human race. Do you feel that I'm feeling, do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
I actually... Hi, mate. Yeah, we can listen to the comeback. Good on the brother comeback. Funny enough, as I'm doing this, I managed to edit the other video, so I did it at record speed. Let's move on to see if there's any more behavior patterns that we need to observe. This is let me skip through this. Let's hear this. This is quite a very important one. Let's do this one here.
Now, I know you're probably wondering what I'm talking about, but if you didn't catch the view this morning, you're definitely gonna want to see this clip. Take a look.
You know, a new study in the journal Evolution and Human Behavior says Americans make racist assumptions based on people's names. Now, this, of course, made us think about the viral video that listed the 60 most ghetto names. And here are their top 10. My boys.
United States of America, Liqua, Alejandrisha.
So just for those who can't see, there's basically two non-black people. I assume, I don't like to guess, maybe Hispanic, Palestinian, you know, around about that, and they're just reading out hyperbole black sounding names like King Kong Cornisha, obviously, and that's, if you can't see, that's what's happening.
King Kong Quisha, fried chickenisha.
So one just said fried chickenisha, very interesting.
Collard greeniqua, grape drinkinisha, Africanisha niqua, Kashaya, the Tanyana bovine natria niqua niqualis.
Just to bring it back, can we take back racist and say discriminatory, because I think that's a better word.
Yes, it is much better word.
Were they actually reacting to that video, or did someone crowbar that in? I seem to find that because that seemed a bit extreme.
Better word, and I am very discriminatory against words like the ones that they were saying in those names.
All right, so that actually was part of the show. There's me thinking someone made a remix. Okay.
I'm not about to hire you if your name is Watermelon Andrea.
Right. That's a bit. Yeah, what's going on there?
It's just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna hire you.
I would be such a beautiful King Kong Quisha, by the way.
Oh, so that there's me thinking that someone actually spliced it together. But no, they actually played that live, and to have non-black people doing that and everyone laughing. I didn't even know that was okay. That's very interesting. All right.
Really?
All right, let's skip by that. Is there any more? That might be the last one. Maybe. This is one more. Maybe she said, I can't remember if she said anything. Oh, one more.
It's August 2nd, 2013. So was that your way of coming out? Of saying you were gay?
That was my way of saying I'm proud of the country. But I will say that I'm in, an amazing, happy relationship with my partner, a woman. And on the other side, my mother and people in my family, they've taught me to keep my personal life to myself as much as possible. So I try my best to, hold the fence where I can, but I am proud to be who I am and what I am.
So when did you know who you were and what you were?
In that topic of dating and in love, I knew when I was like 12. I was looking at everything.
So this is a woman called Raven Simone. She was on the Cosby Show. She came out a few years back as lesbian, I believe it was. I think she said something about blackness or something like that.
Were you looking at boys and girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a word for it? Because I think when you're younger, you don't even have language for what it is.
I don't need language.
Question from the audience: would it be funny if black folks did the names? No, it wouldn't be funnier. But it just shows you that by the way black people collectively act, other people are comfortable to make a mockery and add it part of the zeitgeist.
I don't need a categorizing statement for it. I think that's one thing that
So you don't want to be labeled gay?
I don't want to be labeled gay. I want to be labeled a human who loves humans. I'm tired of being labeled. I'm an American.
Isn't that a label?
I'm not an African American.
Interesting. Wants the label? Change the label?
I'm an American.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, girl, don't set up the Twitter on fire.
I'm sorry. I mean,
what?
I'm sorry.
My Lord. What did you just say? Stop the tape right now. Okay.
Anyway, we're going to go there. So look, where are we at? So what are we talking about today? Let me quick back. We're still with some videos. Excellent, cool. So what we're doing today is what are the solutions to a culture of black self-hatred? We're going to open. Let's go back to the beginning one first, just because that's what's lately out. And we're going to talk about Rewind.
So wrong. It's so
This
wrong.
scenario here where this is a rapper, Mano. I want to say Mano. Modern rapper, not modern, but rapper of nowadays. And he has a fetish of he has a fetish of being with a European woman and having them role play of him being beaten and you know and this kind of stuff and calling names.
I'll tell you right now, I've never talked about this.
Ah, shit. Dun, dun, dun.
I like to be like a runaway slave.
Okay, no.
Man, oh shit. Oh my God.
I like to play like a runaway slave.
Okay.
I like to play like a disobedient slave with a white woman.
So tell me like what you say.
Yes, master. I was sorry.
It's just two. It's two of them. Like it's like me getting whooped, right?
You get whooped?
It's like I play like you whipping, but most of them don't want to play like that. This nigga.
Yeah, I was gonna say what?
So what he said is the woman he wants to play slave play. They tend to not want to do it anyway, but it's something he wants to do.
White woman goes along with this.
They don't want to play like that. They don't.
Okay.
This is my. It's like, listen, you're gonna act like your master's wife.
And I'm the runaway.
And I just got whooped by Massa for eyeballing you. But the whole time you've been really, you liked it. You've been eyeballing me.
Oh, this sounds like some freaky porn. I'm interested.
Right, this is some freaky shit. And then I'm gonna come.
Now the thing is, obviously, people have whatever they want to do, but they're now put it on a platform for everyone to view and that kind of stuff. Once again, probably didn't think anything wrong with this. We're not going backwards in this kind of stuff. But interesting. Now the thing is, what some people they don't understand. Like they want to they might want to question like, how do you know something is self-hate? How do you know this person actually hates themselves, right? Well, the way you got to think it is not everyone who hates themselves, right, who has a form of self-hatred, is actually like looking in the mirror, headbutting it, and saying you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly. Sometimes it's acceptive narrative. They accept certain narratives and it becomes culturally just impounded. So, it's almost like you also have that scenario where a person might feel a way about maybe their skin or something, and they go to a workplace where they have different skin shades to everyone else, and they become the butt of the joke by using their skin color as the butt of the joke, that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, it can be wedged into certain ideas. It can be pushed into certain ways. And this brother's doing it here, where he wants to talk about fantasy, but his fantasy is about something that's very horrific, and certain realities that actually happen to many black people historically, and no real reparations or acknowledgement has really been pushed for that. So what we would like to think is that the people who hate black people, let them have that fantasy because they're the enemies of black people. But to have black people have that fantasy, and then they confess it loud in a show that's probably about this kind of stuff. Yeah, something we need to really rethink. Just like the other show, unfortunately, I edit the one after about Soulja Boy. Didn't edit right, but he was talking about he's thankful for slavery because it got him out of Africa and this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a really disconnect. But I think what I'm asking the community is, what do we do? I guess, like, is there a strategy we should come in to educate the ignorant, really? And we have to ask, does this kind of narrative, does this work in collectively black people's best interest to openly go and do that? Now, we are on the topic of self-hate, and I did download sisters who were talking about self-hate from this standpoint was more so from the self-hate of black men who don't date black women, and could that be perceived as self-hate by the way it's done? It's a very topic that we're interested in here in tackling. So this is fresh from their page, so I haven't had time to blackify it. Hopefully the algorithm won't come after me, but definitely support the sister. I think I left a message on both their pages to invite them at some point to give their experiences. I think one's from England, the other might be from, I'm not too sure, but let's play the British one first, or the British-based one, I should say. Shame on me.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing okay. So first of all, apologies for the missed upload last week. I am supposed to be uploading weekly on like a Tuesday, but I work full time and sometimes.
And also this correlates with last week. If you didn't check, we had a 3.5 hour, maybe 4 hour show, and it was basically, it got kind of back and forthy about brothers who don't value or don't want to be so with black women, and the reasons why. And we tried to have a conversation to really find a solution for and find out what's going on. But at a certain point, certain behaviors can be determined as self-hatred. But let's see what this woman says. But they might disagree, but we definitely have a conversation about that, because definitely, surely the solution is constructive black man with constructive black woman. Who knows? Let's do that. Listen.
You know, I plan things out and they just don't go that well, and just other factors. But yeah, I'm going to make more of an effort, a lot more of an effort to just keep it consistent. I really do enjoy making videos. It's not even about the money or the views. I just enjoy filming them and then editing them. So yeah, I really want to make a lot more of an effort to be consistent and come up with good content ideas to chat about. But anyway, moving on to the topic of today's video. So I wanted to make this video after seeing this TikTok.
Also, family, I'm going to throw the link in there. Feel free to jump in if you want. We're coming early because these shows could go longer, so I'll put the link early just in case it does.
On my For You page about.
Now the sister's showing images. This is very important. This is a whole lot of football players from the UK. Maybe not the UK. I'm not too sure. I don't know too much about football players. So shame on me twice. But they are definitely of African black origin, Caribbean, what it might be. And yeah, she's just showing you some stuff
about footballers, black footballers, and who they date. And unsurprisingly, none of the women that they were dating were black. They were all mixed race, light-skinned black people, or white girls. There was no kind of black women. And it was interesting kind of reading the comments. Sometimes on TikTok I forget that the demographic is a little bit younger, so some of the opinions that they have are a little bit naive and they just lack a bit of nuance that I feel like that topic needs. There was a lot of, oh, that's just their preferences, oh, black girls are always hating, just the usual comment.
Let me see if I can find the sister's channel to promote her, so we, you know, just so you can follow her. And also, if some of these people, if we come across them, feel free to invite them to the show so they can give their testimony here, so we can get back and forth going. Let's see if I can find her show.
That we see in these spaces about black girls being jealous, or they'll bring up Zaka and the two other boys that happen to have black girlfriends. We know how it goes. We know how it goes. So yeah, I really wanted to just sit down.
Family, I found her show with not too much digging, and I've put the link in the group. The first link is actually the what do you call it? The StreamYard to join here. So don't click on that one if you don't want to. The second one is her show. Support the sister and give us some cool encouragement, wise words, all that good stuff. Support black people, yeah, and black content, especially if it's constructive.
And discuss it and talk through it and explain why we see this trend a lot, where it stems from, why it's perpetuated, and yeah, just have a chat about it in general. This is not a super structured video. I'm literally just like reeling off my thoughts. I've made a few notes and stuff, so yeah. So the first thing to understand, and I think the first thing that explains why so many of these boys have girlfriends that look the exact same and who are mostly non-black, is understanding the background that a lot of footballers and rappers come from. So the majority of footballers are from working class.
As we know, we shouldn't really put too much emphasis on footballers and rappers and this kind of stuff for anything. But unfortunately, you know, the media, we don't get much representation. Hence, not holding your media kind of conglomerate to like counter this. So what they do does have influence and sway. So this is mentioning it. Let's go.
Backgrounds. So them being working class, what's that got to do with the girls that they go with? So first of all, let's kind of pin down what success looks like to working class black male in the UK. Being successful is about having money, it's about living a certain lifestyle, going on flashy holidays, having like the drippiest of drip, having big watches, having big chains, providing for your mum as well, like buying your mum a house, buying your mum a car. Those are all kind of signifiers of success. It's what rappers do. The minute they get their first check, they go out and they splash. The whole kind of mentality is about kind of showing that you've made it and being able to afford these really nice things that they probably couldn't afford before they had that money. And that is kind of part of the culture of success within that particular group of working class black boys. So as a result, the women that they surround themselves with and the women that they date are an extension of what they perceive to be success. And then this kind of moves into beauty standard talk. So obviously we all know kind of what the Western beauty standard is by now. The closer your proximity to whiteness is, the more attractive you're deemed. Obviously there's
something that the Black Betterment Broadcast wants to change within definitely Black society. I want to make sure that we contribute to highlighting the beauty standard of African, Black, Caribbean, that kind of background. Very important.
Nuance within that, and within kind of recent years we've actually seen more of a trend within that where the beauty standard seems to...
If you disagree, let me know, but this is one of the purposes of Black Betterment, is to be Afro-centered or Black-centered. Very important. It helps in so many areas which we can unfold as time goes by.
People want to be more tanned, people want to be like racially ambiguous, they want to be like mixed race. So it's a lot of kind of chat about blackfishing. I don't necessarily think that any of these girls or whatever want to be black. They don't want to be my skin tone, they don't want to look like me. I don't think that's it. They just want to look racially ambiguous, they want to look not white. They equate being with a girl like that to being successful. Oh, look, I'm successful, look at the girls that I get. And as well, kind of through success, like they have more doors open to them dating wise than they would have done before they have that. A lot of women are willing to overlook certain like negative traits if you have money and if you've got clout, if you've got status, and if you can kind of offer them something that they can't get themselves. Do you know what I mean? So the type
I've given a link to the sisters page, go on support.
Of girls that these boys will have access to when they're just regular boys doing regular jobs or whatever they're doing is very, very different to the type of girls that will be interested in them once they've made it, once they've got money, once they're popping, once they're cool. So again, I think a lot of these guys get very mesmerized by that and they're like, wow, I could never have a girl like this before.
Are you brothers out there mesmerized with this kind of stuff? If so, let us know. We need to know.
I could never have a girl this bad. I've got a girl that's bad. Look at my girl, she's bad. So I feel
that's something we need to change as well. We need to change the zeitgeist, we need to change the way people perceive things, if that is going on, that is. And there is a value in Black people seeing Black women as quote unquote bad, good, whatever, and that being the standard, and that is a standard for status and success and all that kind of stuff. We can come together, all the media people come together to try to put that out there. Remember, all this stuff is programmed. That's we showed a few weeks ago. Disney are going to have more LGBTQ kind of stuff going on, and this all has an impact on how people perceive things. So we understand that you can program people to think a certain way that's in their best interest, and that should be one of the goals of the Black Bearers and the Black Custodians, to try to control a certain kind of media narrative to make sure that Black people find Black people attractive. It's unacceptable for a Black person to not find Black people attractive. That makes absolutely no sense, but it might be a reality in so many people's minds. Let's see if we can fix that. That's right. Let's go. Unless you disagree, let me know.
I feel like that definitely plays a big part in who they choose. And looking into why that then excludes Black women, some people are going to be like, oh, maybe you're taking it too deep. I don't think I am. I think who you choose to date, how you date, and how you kind of...
They say rappers ain't working class. I think she made a comment. Are rappers working class? That's not what you think. Bleaching is self-hate, to be honest, making society ruin your life, sorry, path. Yep, bleaching, that's enough. We haven't actually, I don't think I've mentioned that in there, but yeah, bleaching, that's something we need to go over. Oh, we have, but we wouldn't, all these concepts, we need to really amalgamate them to one and tackle them.
Navigate your relationships as you get older is definitely influenced by your experiences kind of growing up. And there is a sizable portion in the Black community of the UK who grow up in single parent households.
Something we want to fix as well.
What does that mean? If you as a young Black boy have never seen your Black mother being treated well, being treated with love, being treated with respect, being adored, being loved upon, then I definitely think, whether consciously or unconsciously, that will affect how you view Black women. And even growing up in school and stuff, everyone used to dog on Black women. Like, we were just the butt of everyone's jokes.
Is that true? Are you a Black woman? Do you feel that growing up you were the butt of all jokes? Do you feel that you're least protected, all that kind of stuff? Let us know. We want to know, because if we don't know, we can't fix it.
Would come from black boys, which
every time a black woman complains, black men should be trying to find solutions. I recommend it.
Never made sense to me, but again, like all of that feeds into it. We black girls are not associated with being attractive.
We're also gonna have. I've been reviewing many interactions between black women and black men, and so many different kind of podcasts and stuff, and this in general. And one thing I'm going to conclude is we need to have some kind of like exercises or some kind of show, whatever it is, where we break down better ways of communicating. And I think one way we want to start is we want to recognize emotionalism in men, and not that men should be able to be emotional, but I think when it comes to talking with women and getting aggressive, and we need to work on that. If that goes on, that's never going to be working in anyone's best interest. And recognizing that you're a male talking to a female, or a man talking to a woman, put it, and it isn't necessary to do that. And we have to unpack why men who do that. So yeah, something to think about. Brother Stanley said this is not typical in the US. What I've heard is different, but we'll see.
We were likened to being manly. We were likened to being aggressive. We were likened to being just all these negative things were put upon us as black women. So you can understand these boys growing up.
Also, one thing you got to remember as well is when people are talking about certain things, especially when it comes to interracial dating and this kind of stuff, the people who make the loudest noise are the people who are practicing it. And we have to be merciful to them, because sometimes they can't make distinctions between like their personal life and the collective betterment, this kind of stuff. So be merciful to them, but you tend to find that they will make the most noise when it comes to racial this kind of stuff.
Don't have a positive connotation when they think of a black woman. It's all just negative.
So that's something to think as well. If you only think of negative stuff, we need to change that paradigm. Not good.
And I definitely think that then seeps into, as they get older, who they want to associate themselves with romantically, and who they date, and who they want to call their wife. I definitely think that plays a big part in.
If you're going to marry someone and you're a black person, it makes interest to make them black. Just makes sense. If that's your default, that should be your default, and you can work backwards from there, if at all. Not the other way around.
And another topic that I'm sure we're all familiar with now that ties into that is colorism. There is a lot of colorism that's still rife within kind of black communities. Colorism is a bigger conversation than just dating. I feel like a lot of topics and conversations around colorism are always centered around dating, but it's a much wider topic than that. But obviously this video is about.
Links in the group. I'll put in one more time. There we go. I found it. And copy and paste. Not be a sloppy waste, and throw in there with paste and that kind of stuff. Boom. Yeah, there it is. So if you want to jump in. You might disagree, might agree. Wherever you agree or disagree, we want constructive stuff. We did start a kind of what's the name of this video, brother? What I've done, families, I've actually given the link to the sisters' page. It would be good if you follow her. Always support the sisters when they want to do their thing, as long as they're constructive and that good stuff. And what I'll do is I'll put the name of it in the link. It's called this. Let's copy and paste. But black rappers and footballers don't date black women. Self-hate, colorism, social class. Go support that. I'll put the name there in the group. See if you can follow that. I've also put the link, a few things up. Follow. Support the sister. Make her feel good. Make her feel like efforts. She's got a nice intro and that kind of stuff. Effort. Takes effort, doesn't it?
Dating and romantic partners and stuff. So I'm going to focus on that. Colorism definitely plays a part. We have stereotypes about black women, darker skinned black women that are perpetuated, like I've just spoken about, being aggressive, being loud, being all of these different types of things. And then lighter skinned black women or mixed race black women are seen as more of a prize. They're seen as more valuable. They're seen as more demure. They're seen as more sensual and sexual.
That's something you need to work on as well. Inside the group kind of behavioral patterns of colorism, we definitely don't want to be promoting any things like that kind of favoritism and that stuff. And it's going to be controversial, especially if you're a dark-skinned male. If you're a dark-skinned male and you don't like dark-skinned women, we need to really unpack that. But generally, as a collective concept, the open confession of preference and that way isn't really beneficial. But we can unpack that and talk about that. Links in the group. Join if you want to talk. Let's press play.
So yeah, colorism plays a big part in the dating lives and decisions of these types of guys. I know the very popular rebuttal for this type of conversation when it happens is that people are allowed to have a preference.
That's another thing, this preference concept we need to break down. When we talk about preferences, we have to understand that there is a media machine behind that pumps ideas out, and this heavily influences what we call preference. I guess coming from a woman, when women speak, there might be this slight of embarrassment to feel that you don't want to be forcing someone to like you. If they don't like you, that's what it is. I think as a man, we need to step up and say, no, actually, there is something deeper going on, and it's more than that. And you know, some people use the word preference just to shut down arguments and stuff like that. I think we need to have a standard, and if we can create a standard, and then after that, whatever happens, happens. But right now, I think a problem we have is also when you do. I think I mentioned this before, and I think I used a cartoon as an analogy. What it is, when cartoons and computer games are getting black people, like successful black men, and they create white figures. If they're automatically creating non-black women, this is a problem. This has to be a problem because this means that the cultural norm from other people looking in is black men view success as not a black woman, and no people who can thrive with this kind of behavior pattern. If it goes on, you know, if you're a black woman, you agree, you disagree, let us know. Let us no. Press play.
That's always what people say. Oh, it's just my preference. That's just my type. That's just what I'm into.
Yeah, but your type might have been programmed, so that's why we need to reprogram that.
Black people don't.
Why do I say this? Because is it in black people's best interest to love their own type or not? Let's think about that. Shouldn't take long.
Only have to date black people. And I think that logic it's a big cop-out in my opinion. I think it's a fucking massive
please not swear, but forgive her.
Cop-out when people say that, and it's just not true. And I sometimes see the conversation end when that happens, and it's just like, yeah, what they've said is valid, end of. When that isn't end of at all, because I find it very odd as a black person, as a black woman, to not find other black people attractive. I find
so this is how black men should be talking, and this is a controversial thing I'm about to say. And I hope it could be a bit more controversial, because I generally do want to start this conversation. I tend to bounce around in areas that black people are most concerned about, and I just inhabit that. And this is the black love conversation is very important. But I would say that in a certain sector of media, and I'm going to use my words very uncarefully now, when it comes to black betterment and doing what's in black people's best interest, when it comes to the black love concept, black women are superior to black men in many different areas, especially in the media and this kind of like the wanting people to view stuff. I'm going to say that there's obviously variables and stuff, but that's something that I want to be on platform challenging. I'm seeing that at the moment, black women are much more superior minded when it comes to how to interact with other men to sustain a culture, to sustain a people group. And once again, you know, black men have been under much assault, and not, you know, after years of assault, people can, their social and psychological condition can be heavily compromised. And unfortunately, if we say any other thing, we might not be aware that many of our men have been completely compromised. And maybe they've jumped on this platform a few times and uttered these things, just like in the video I showed a bit earlier, where men are happy to confess their inadequacies. They shout from the rooftop, I want everyone to know how inadequate I am as a man. I am not part of the black collective. I am a individual, all that kind of stuff. There you go. But so yeah, this is the system.
And it's so odd. And for me, it's self-hate.
Self-hate it is.
It's self-hate, and that might sound extreme, but
not extreme at all. If anything, we want it to be go out there. We want it to be normal. We want people to understand this concept that if you publicly say certain things, we collectively know it's self-hate.
It's not. It's self-hate. If you as a black man are not attracted to black women, that is a form of self-hate.
I co-sign this. I would challenge anyone on any platform that if a black man doesn't find black women attractive, I'm calling that self-hate, and I challenge anyone. If you disagree, I'll use all my intellectual orator skills to shame you publicly, because it's a concept that we need to spread around. That a constructive black man with a constructive black woman makes a constructive black family. It has to be the foundation of a start point. If you're not practicing that, that's fine, but then don't try to sabotage it, because that doesn't work in black people's collective best interest. Let's play.
And let me clear it up. I'm not saying that you cannot date anyone who's not in your race. That's dumb. Date who you find attractive. Date whose personality you like. Date someone who loves you, who treats you well, who respects you, all of that stuff. It doesn't matter what race they are. But there is a problem when you very specifically only seek out a certain type of woman who consistently looks nothing.
So when we look at many of the celebrities and this kind of stuff, we see a pattern there. So we have to really, watch that.
Like you. Is self-hate. Because for me, I have a high level of self-love. When I look in the mirror, I love my skin tone.
Excellent.
You know, I think my skin tone is beautiful.
Excellent.
I think my African features are beautiful.
Excellent.
Therefore, when I see it on a guy, I'm going to also think that's attractive.
Once again, remember I was talking about superior minded. There's a superior way of thinking. It means your brain is working in your own betterment. It means you have yet to be corrupted by the media by some kind of passing fad, whatever it is. This is something that we definitely have to promote. It is a domino effect when you think this way, because it connects to many other things that work in your collective best interest. Many black people become soloists, and they think that is how people are going to progress. Unfortunately, from much research, I can say being a soloist does not help black people. You have to think on a collective level and how to create certain situations that make black people progress collectively. The sisters are saying that this woman's very stunning. I'm sure she'll be very happy. Please go on her page and let her know this. There you go. Let's press play.
Because how can I not? If I find myself attractive, if I see someone with similar traits, I'm going to associate.
What we have to find very attractive about this woman, obviously physically is great, but she's mentally great. And I think how you're mentally processing things that works in your best interest is a very good trait, and we should uphold this, and we should make this the standard of how people think. There's obviously men and women who do think it's slightly different, whatever it is, but we definitely want to promote this, and we have to watch the lack of balance. And from my observation, she is correct, and many men suffer from not understanding this. So we can work as a collective to think that. There we go. Can you use data that said to prove self-hatred? Black Betterment Broadcast. Well, the data is there. She showed all the images with the proportions of black men with black women and this kind of stuff. We're using that as a metric. And yeah, we live in the real world. We see what's happening.
That with being attractive.
But by all means, jump on. By all means, jump on. If remember, one thing we have to tell people is we have a dedicated mission. We see a value, and when you talk to other people, you have to make sure that they understand your value and you understand their value. Because if you don't, you'll be talking in circles. This is the Black Betterment Broadcast. Black people helping black people on black issues. There isn't too many out there. We're trying to make it really go around and be there. So this is coming from a black-centered perspective. Understand there is a value in black people looking out for black people and doing things, because if we don't do it, no one else will. These are the facts. Now, one of the problems we have, if we have it, is if we have black people who do not find their own people attractive, this is not normal behavior. It's being learned behavior, and we need to find ways to unlearn that. And we can only give you, as we know, and that is, so we have a guest. Who's this guest? Let me scroll this. Screen's not working. Voila. Oh, come on, Granddad. There we go. Welcome, Empress Kush. Welcome.
That's up there.
Let me tell. I think. Are you loud? I think you might be slightly quiet, but it might be my machine. Who knows? But welcome.
Am I okay?
Yeah, that sounded much better. That sounded better. That one. Yeah. So we said in the gap, so I was going to jump in. But we're this week we're looking at self-hate. I'm going to listen to the sister here. You know what? I can't even pronounce her name. Shame on me. I think she mentioned it. I need to get it again. Shame on me twice. But I've put a link to her page, and so make sure you follow her. But let me go press play this. Excellent.
Link in, so I've subscribed. So you've definitely done it. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Yeah. And what hopefully, like I do send out many links, and people sometimes see themselves a few weeks there and they jump on. So we definitely want people to jump on. We did tackle a show last week of some black men who wasn't best pleased with their lives and how they felt that they seem to be obsessed with black women not doing things that they, I guess, agree with, or it might be, and hence why they exclusively date outside of black women. And so we're just trying to get like a more rounded opinion about certain things. So we're playing the system now. But by all means, people can jump on and give their opinion as long as they're constructive. Let's play.
And that doesn't mean that you can't date people from other races. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's not about black.
One thing I noticed with black women, because it is it must be a very hard angle, because essentially you're coming out and you naturally are working in correlation with black women in the sense of you haven't been corrupted and you generally find black people attractive. You find your own traits attractive and the men group attractive. And then you're talking to men, and it's almost like you have to plead with them to like themselves, and then in essence like you. And it must be, and then at a certain point they can use the power of preference. Well, my preference is this, and it must be a very like I don't know, like a very conversation stopping technique. And I think what we need black men to jump on and actually like not co-sign this kind of behavior and say that actually the default should be that we work towards that black men find black women attractive, and if they're not doing that, then we're failing as a society. And then the concept of being collectively inadequate is a true one that we have to work on. But yeah, so let's carry on listening.
black people can only date black people. It's that you should also find your own race attractive. And saying that you don't find black girls attractive is just odd to say as a black man, in my opinion. It just screams self-hate. So I just wanted to pause and clarify this point that I'm trying to make. It is natural to be attracted to people from your own race, and I guarantee if these men were in their African or Caribbean or wherever they're from, you know, home countries, that they would most likely be with black women. So this idea that their preference is a kind of natural born thing that they can't help what they're attracted to is simply just untrue. And yeah, I hope you get what I mean. And I'm also in a relationship, so I don't know why I'm making it sound like I'm out here on the streets like preying man like that. I'm really not. And I think some of these men need to look really deep into why they don't find women that look like their mum, women that look like their sisters, women that look like their family friends that they've grown up with, why they don't see that.
So one thing we want to do as well is when we see these videos, go in the comments and see what people are saying, you know, see the reaction to this kind of stuff.
As attractive, beautiful enough to date, to marry, to wife, to have children with. I find it odd.
Obviously, Clubhouse in this kind of place isn't the best place, and if you have any good Clubhouse recommendations, let me know. But some of the behavioral patterns of some of the men, you know, is problematic. And that's why I do challenge. We're good to find the constructive black man who loves black women, who's trying to promote that, just to come forward, just so we can get like a collection of people who stand united in this concept and understand the importance of it. But if we ever see complainers and people who are fleas and this kind of stuff, yeah, we're not really getting, you know, it's not really the greatest picture we can paint. But yeah,
I think it's very important to say, like, making a video like this, that this trends that we see is not representative of all black.
Very true. Not representative of all black men. Plenty of black men who love black women unconditionally, all that good stuff. And you know, it's dedicated to promoting Black Love campaign. But we want to hear from you, and we want you guys to be the predominant ones in the media, and we want to have your views be the views that is mainly heard. And definitely want you to run media companies and promote that.
Men in the UK. Sometimes I feel like when the discussion happens, it makes it sound like all black guys don't date black girls, which
is not true.
For me, in my opinion, is bollocks. This is definitely not an all black men, and I think it is specific to a certain type.
Unfortunately, it's the type who don't practice this who might get the most of the media attention, that might have the biggest platforms. So something we want to work on. There we go. Black men who date outside. This we have a brother who was on it last week. It looks like black men who date outside of our race doesn't equate to self-hate. Well, this is the thing. I'm glad you have your opinion. We're looking from a different angle, and we can unpack it and see what we conclude.
As I said at the start, I think black guys from more of a kind of working class background tend to adopt this mentality more, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I've also found that black guys who are a bit more, I don't know how to explain it, maybe a bit more worldly, if that makes sense. So whether it be through uni or traveling or their hobbies and interests that they have, they'll naturally meet more people. Those type of black guys I've found tend to just date whoever they find attractive and personality is good. They'll date whoever. Also, I found that guys who are quite in touch with their African or Caribbean heritage also tend to date black girls like happily with no problem.
Very true, very true. Our family members who were raised in a certain way, and they all end up finding people from the actual country. So this is true, and this is why there is a value in raising your children with self-love, black empowerment, black-centered, black betterment, Pan-Africanism, any kind of collective thing that puts value in your people group and come together to work on solutions. Very important, because when you do that and you give that kind of like that centeredness there, you tend to find that you give them a direction and they know where they're going. But if you just leave them out in the wilderness, what happens? Whatever the TV tells them is what they'll believe. And unfortunately, you know, it might not work in the collective's best interest. Blah, 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 blah.
So again, I feel like this is a very specific problem. And the only reason I feel like it's
most definitely is a problem.
Seems very heightened is because all of these types of guys, rappers and footballers, they're huge stars.
That's another thing. Once again, that's why you have to control your media. But once again, but also there needs to be awareness of this. We need to talk about this, and it'd be good to actually like see the data. Like I try to collate all the images of people and put them on the screen, just to show people like how widespread certain things are in certain industries, certain media, certain groups, just so we can highlight it and so we can work on it. A lot of times we as black people just think that things fix themselves. They won't fix themselves. They'll get worse. There you go.
You know, their lives are covered more, their dating lives are followed more, so it feels like they represent a wider group of society than what they actually do.
Pick up all the sisters who practice black love and understand the importance of it.
And I think
and the brothers too.
If you're a black woman or a black girl and you feel like you're in spaces where this is your reality, where it feels like black men are not dating you because you're black or you're around a lot of black boys that only date a certain type of girl, I think maybe if you can try and expand your circles, whether it's on social media, like try and follow a wider variety of people aside from Black Twitter and Shade Bar and UK Gossip type, pages and spaces, and you'll find that you'll be surrounded less around those type of ignorant guys. There's certain spaces I think within black communities that can be very low vibrational. Even the Shade Borough, sometimes I've just got to mute it because you'll see a topic, you read the comments, and it's just like, where's the head? Where's the critical thinking? Where's the nuance? So if you feel like you're someone who is just surrounded by boys like that,
welcome, Brother Quincy. We'll let the sister talk and you can jump in.
Very ignorant men and boys that think in these very colorist ways, backwards ways, then just try and move yourselves away from that. Try and explore further away from the type of circles that you're used to being in, and I can promise you that your experience and what you see with black men will severely lessen, and I don't know any black men that I have surrounded myself with that don't date black women or see black women as less of a prize when it comes to dating or whatever. So that is basically the end of the video. I really hope.
Thank you, sister. Please go and follow her. So brother Quincy, obviously we might have some stark differences in views, but just so you know, the idea of this show is to find solutions. It's to identify challenges and find solutions, but we are a black first, black centered show, and we try to do things that work in black people's collective best interest, and we can actually play dominoes and really go back and find out where issue might
play dominoes
in the sense of intellectual dominoes, in the sense of if, for example, if you are someone who actively does not date black women, but there was a time where it was an option, we try to go backwards to see when it went wrong, potentially, and how to potentially fix that. We always try to be solution based.
Fix.
Of course. The word fix, yeah. And what I mean by fix is, in a perfect world, a black person with a black person and make constructive.
But I said last week. With all due respect, not every black man can get a black woman. It's impossible. I mean, you're talking about 7-8 billion people. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we're talking about more so the zeitgeist, more so like what people perceive. So the sister at the beginning of the show, her show, I should say, she was giving. Let's see if I can find it. She was showing. There we go. Fantastic. Where's that? Let's press play. So she's showing. Okay. Obviously, we don't want to live by footballers. But she's just using it as an example. This was
black women, and it was interesting kind of reading the comments. Sometimes on TikTok I forget that the demographic.
Yeah, so she was showing that, and it's something I'm well aware of, and it's been this way for many years. That certain people in certain societies and certain kind of professions tend to heavily date outside. I think in my actual book that I showed, all of our politicians seems to not have a black wife. Welcome, Brother Stanley. Welcome, Sister Fee, Holy Trinity. Quincy and Empress Kushti. We're going to have a talk about this concept of self-hate.
We're going to have a talk about it.
Of course, we definitely are. But one thing hold on, family. I would like us all to be respectful, understand the premise of this show is to find solutions for black people, right? So if ever we find ourselves being offended or saying words that are very colorless, please be careful. Please understand that we are solution-based, and I will have to hate to mute anyone because I know what I don't say, right? But let me see if I can quickly switch back to the picture, though. So, when we started the show, we showed this video, right? So this was the first video.
Ready, right?
And we were showing things like the brother, where he's talking about he actually, when he's with non-black women or European women, he is very he tries to have slave role play where he's being whipped by the woman and this kind of
seriously.
Yes. So this was the extreme version. So that's
very extreme. I never heard that before.
Yeah, well, this goes on, and then we showed some other videos where
wait, rewind. Right, are you saying that this black man here, right? Yes. He's with a white woman, right? He's having slave pay sex. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, and this goes on a lot. This goes on a lot. There's many European men, white men, whatever, who date black women to do this, and obviously.
I heard that one. But I'm talking about the white woman, the black man.
Yeah. Oh, this goes on. Is
it?
Well, now the brother's telling me what it does. I will know about these circles, but the brother's confessing this, right? So what I'm saying is, when you have certain black, not that this brother is exclusively dating European women, But when you have brothers who are certain way minded, it isn't far fetched to believe that these things can exist, right? So we just want to make sure that the brothers are not treating themselves okay and not doing some of these behavior patterns. Anyway, I'm not going to hog up the mic. The conversation is what are the solutions to a culture of black self-hatred? And obviously, the sister was talking about from her perspective.
What do you mean by black self-hatred? What do you mean? Please, what do you mean? Please elaborate.
So what we mean by black self-hatred is, welcome brother Kel to the show. What we mean by black self-hatred is you might have joined late, but we gave like a whole lot of examples. But for example, if a black man, as the sister was saying, does not like physically black women, they physically don't like the look of them, right? And they themselves are black, then this could be interpreted as a form of self-hatred.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What, in the dating sense, or just in general?
In any kind of capacity. If you look, if let's say physically, let's use the term physically, you don't find the woman alluring or attractive.
But you can use that. You can use that any race, though, not just black people. Come on now.
I'm glad you said that. That's why we
you can't. It's not exclusive to black people.
Hold on, friend of mine. Let me say this point.
Go on.
This show is called the Betterment Broadcast, where it's black centered. Therefore, meaning we can't talk about the fighting between Asian women and Asian men that they probably go.
No. I'm just saying. You can't use that. You can't say that. Because one person don't find that other person attractive doesn't mean you say it's self-hate. Not necessarily, because I know why we don't find each other attractive. It means self-hate. No, it doesn't. It just means that they don't find that particular person attractive. You know what I mean? So you can use that.
Hold on, well, let's talk back and forth.
Go on.
So one thing.
Sorry, go on, Karen.
One thing I try to train black people is never compare black people to white people. Very different dynamic. And I think one of the reasons why we always find ourselves in shortcomings is because we assume that white people's history is the same as black people's history. The history of Europeans, white people, is that of colonization and subjugation, right? The mass of 400 years ago. Now, that went on for so long, and colonization, of course, place, right? So we have a different dynamic, right? Also, when it comes to dominance, white people are controlling the standard of beauty in the world because they own all the media companies, right? So how they perceive things are different. So, for example, a woman could actually want to get a tan, and they might not actually describe it as self-hate, even though it might actually be that, right? While a black...
I disagree. I disagree with you. I have to disagree with you respectfully, because it's just because white people get tan doesn't mean self-hate. It means they want to get darker.
Hold on, brother. What I'm saying is, we can accept that, but what we can't accept is if a person wants to bleach their skin, the motivations and the history because of that, we understand that comes from a history of self-hatred, right?
Yeah, that agree. That's definitely self-hatred.
So many times, right? But anyway, so what I'm saying is, but anyway, that's not hold the mic. If Brother Kel, Fee Holy, Empress Kush wants to add in, by all means, jump in and give your opinions. Also, Brother Stanley as well, if he wishes to speak, by all means, jump in.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree with the history part that you just mentioned, but I don't know that, this sort of thing is that widespread. I mean, and I'm speaking specifically in the United States. I don't, really talk too much to what goes on in Britain, but I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm basically saying it's not a widespread thing, and I don't even know that it's a problem. People can feel however they want to feel. I just don't think it's a big problem.
That's very interesting, Brother Stanley, because there was an incident in America where it was a case with Loving versus Virginia. And there was
I'm very familiar
Brother Stanley.
with it.
If you can allow me to finish, Brother Stanley, I allowed you to finish. If I can have my
sentence, I'm familiar with
respect. And he fought for the African American lady for them to be together. But bearing in mind, Brother Stanley, in enslavement, if you ever looked at the European woman, whistled at her, let alone blew a kiss at her, they will poke your eyes out. Kill
right,
you.
But I'm talking today.
Hold on, brother. So if we had that discipline back then to keep away from them, why is it now that we don't have that discipline now?
Okay, can I respond to that? I'm assuming that I can. Number one, Loving v. Virginia was 1967. A lot of time has passed between then and now. I don't think we have the same sort of problems, at least not on a large scale, at least in the US. My only point is that I don't think it's a huge problem. I'm not even sure it's like a small problem. You said an incident, and I agree with that. It's not a large scale problem, at least in the US.
But what about an enslavement, brother Stanley? Are you
We're
forgetting
not
about that?
enslaved any longer, Kale.
No, but brother, you see, you said, brother, you don't see it as a problem, right?
I do not.
But at the same time, hold on, brother. Where's the discipline, man? Right? There is an African descendant lady saying that the black man has self-hate, and I agree with everything what she's saying, because if we were in those countries like Africa and the Caribbean, we'll be marrying each other. But yes,
Right.
because we're around, hold on, brother, if we're in different lands, like for example, the European lands, and there was restriction, because even in UK as well, I think there was a Somali man, it was in the late 1800s that he was hung for being with a European woman. So there was laws in UK that if you touch or look at them, it's end of days for you. But now, brother,
may I answer that specifically?
no, I haven't finished yet, brother Stanley, and that when you were speaking, I didn't interrupt. Where's the discipline, man? So the thing is, brother, is that you're saying you have a problem with it, but there is a big problem if you want to assassinate the African, what she looks like, when we never used to do that before. So it is a big problem, and it is self-hate. You can answer that, brother.
Okay, so you're saying it's a big problem in 2022, 1967, or 800? Because I don't think it's a big problem in 2022.
Brother, you said you don't think. Remember, thinking, brother, is not an accurate fact. You're thinking.
Well,
it is a problem, brother.
Give me the fact. Give me statistics. Give me data.
If I can interject, I can give Stanley a statistic. Good evening, good night, everyone. Thank you for accepting me on the panel. Actually, here in the UK, Stanley, a few years ago, there was Office of National Statistics data performed, and I think black men were dating out at nearly 50%. And I think this was like three to 4 years ago, and
more than that now.
It certainly increased since then.
About 60%
That's just to give Stanley. That's just to give Stanley an idea, and we're only 3% of the population here, Stanley.
Okay, so it is okay. Well, I did specify that it doesn't seem to be a big problem in the United States. So that being said, you've pretty much answered my question. It's a British problem.
Brother Stanley, see, this is why I didn't want, brother Stanley, if it's not a problem in the United States, then brother, explain to me, brother, why is it that whenever an entertainer or even an upper class African American and that, is that when they do marry, they marry the non-African woman, all the wealth, brother, goes into their community, which they are robbing from us every single day. And the African children, hold on, brother, we're left with nothing. But you don't find that as a problem, which is very strange, because
okay, well, let me be very specific.
Brother, had it not been for the enslaved Africans, brother, you wouldn't be able to maneuver, buy a house, let alone work, brother. So you don't find that a problem that all that money is going back into people that's stealing from us. I think we have an issue with intellect, brother.
Okay, well, let me answer that. The money, if every black male of marriageable age in the United States specifically married only black women of marriageable age, the money would still go into the white coffers. So I don't really see that as a response. Second thing is, I don't think it's a big problem specifically in the United States. I don't base what I think social policy should be on YouTube videos and what celebrities do.
Right.
I just
go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
Check something. But I think the conversation is heading towards interracial relationships. But the actual question is what's the solution to cultures of black hatred, self-hatred?
I don't think it's a huge problem. Does it need a solution?
I think that I didn't hear what you said, Brother Stanley. So after I finish, if you just repeat that. But I'm just not finished. So I just think it's funny how every time we talk of matters of Black betterment, it always goes to interracial relationships, especially for those who have a vested interest in that subject.
Well,
Like,
it was
we're
used
trying
as
to talk about the solution.
the interracial
Black
relationship was.
self-hatred within a culture. So I think if we could probably maybe fix on that topic instead of talking again about interracial relationships.
Well, no, interracial relationships are the basis of what is being called self-hatred, correct?
No.
Well, no, brother. We've got a video here. So we've got there's many different outlooks that how self-hatred comes, but we showed a few when we first started, and that was one of the rapper Mano talking about how he likes to be whooped as a slave, and then we had Soulja Boy by a European woman.
Okay, so that's interracial, right?
Hold on, we'll move on. But also Soulja Boy saying he enjoyed being a slave, being enslaved back in the days because it brought him into America. And then we have the brother here talking about how he can only fall in love with a woman who has a non-black parent with them. And then that is connected. But and then we had Kanye West saying that slavery was a choice.
That's definitely out of. I think we all know Kanye's issue.
Right, and then we had the concept of not hiring people based on their names, i.e., the African American community at a certain point tried to forge new names for themselves, and
right, but that's not self-hatred. That's racism.
When you say self-hatred, what we're saying is there's a sister on there called Raven Simone, this kind of thing, something like that. And what she's saying is it's the same kind of pattern I see, that when a black person on the media gets to actually undermine black stuff, there's this like joy, clapping, yay, this is what we're meant to be doing. So if we press play, you will see how it works.
United States.
So this is now where they've got non-black people, I assume maybe Hispanic, but I could be wrong, and they're making fun of the African American vernacular names, and everyone's
right.
Here we go.
America Liqua, Alejandrisha, King Kong Queen.
And so this King Kong business, once again, this is very racial, but we'll carry on.
Fried chicken nation.
So one just said fried chicken nation. I mean,
right. But that's a white person saying it. That's not black self-hatred.
No, but we're going to react to first of all, the fact that they even put this in the show is one thing, but we're going to react to the black people reacting afterwards, and how casual is there. But Issa the Black Intellect, sorry, brother, we've got 6 people, so when someone drops out, we'll let you in.
Drank Isha, Africa Nisha Nikwa, Kashaya, the Tanyana Bova Natria Nikwa Nikwalis.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what was funny about that, but once again, if you find it funny, let us know.
Just to bring it back, can we take back racist and say discriminatory? Because I think that's a better word.
Yes, it is much better.
That's a better word, and I am very discriminatory against words like the ones that they were saying in those names. I'm not about to hire you if your name is Watermelon Andrea. It's just not gonna happen. I'm not.
Right. So what we have to look at, underline what we're saying is there are black people who make a choice of how they want to name themselves. And because this doesn't follow the European standard of these names, we're not going to hire you. This is an economic thing, but once again, what I'm trying to highlight is mistreating black people is made comedy, it's made sport, it's made easygoing. So we can, on a mainstream channel, you can openly, directly mistreat black people, no matter where they are, and then there's always a way around it.
That's mistreatment, not self-hatred.
Well, hold on, brother. The women, this woman she's a black lady, and she's saying that she had a company, but she does have, she'll go out of her way to make sure she never hires anyone with an African American name.
Yeah, but there are not very many black women or black people in the U.S. like her. That's why I don't think it's a big problem. She's just one like D-list star. I don't think it's a big problem.
Can I make a point?
Make a point, sister.
Sorry, my battery's gonna just drop. I'll drop down after this, but I just wanted to come in and make a point. I agree with what the statements that are being made in terms of people not being proud to be black. I found many times in the black community when I've been introduced to someone or they've spoken to me, and I'll say, oh, what's your background, where are you from, just out of interest. And they'll say things like, oh, I'm mixed with Indian, Chinese, Irish, Scottish, Welsh. And it's this there is a complex there, and it's this thing where they are dying to claim something else. And I never see it the other way around. I never see an Indian person saying, oh, by the way, I've got black in me, or I've got, there's never this instinct where people want to identify as being black. So I think there's definitely an issue where being black by itself is something that people just don't want to be. And I know where a lot of us originally that came to the UK are from the West Indies, but can we please get away from this thing of Indian this and Indian that? There was a time on YouTube where a lot of people were doing DNA testing, and I think they were being sponsored by different companies to do this. And when they actually did their DNA testing, they found that they were majority West African with a little bit of European. So that grandmother that you have that has that light, that slightly looser coiled hair is more than likely European than you are Indian. So I know they call us West Indian, but come on. I think we're going to have to sort of, get ourselves out of this complex of trying to identify with other things because we think that black isn't good enough. And that's what I think this broadcast is speaking to. And it's the whole point of what you're making by showing these videos. And if we're honest with each other, this is the mindset of most black people. We're just not, I think we're coming towards that in 2022, but we're still a far way away from that. And I think that's the point that you're trying to make. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Good point there, and that unwraps something else I'm saying in the sense of like it's a very true point that I've experienced personally, and that is when you talk to many black people, they're quick to tell you of other ethnic groups that they believe could be or is in their lineage, but they won't either mention the Africa, the Caribbean, what it might be, while when you meet other people, they're not quick to tell you this. They're not quick to let you know that, oh yeah, actually, I've got. Matter of fact, most people don't want you to know they have any.
No, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've got white people in my family, and I only ever see them at funerals. I've never been to their homes. I've never interacted with them directly. During Christmas and Easter times and things like that, they'll give the elders in our families money and things like that because the elders remember and the elders know that someone who was biracial actually dated out, and eventually further down the line they became white people. But they don't really recognize us like that. There's no sort of, unless you're I don't know, directly linked to them through, I don't know, say if my sibling married a white person, then they don't really acknowledge that. It's particularly in the Caribbean. So I don't understand why Caribbeans continue to want to align themselves in that way.
Right. Yeah, and thanks for that. It's very great competition, sister. We'd look to see you more when your phone's working well. That's really good. What I would say as well is, remember, all these things have knock-on effects. Who's that? Who's speaking?
It's me, it's Quincy.
Go on, Quincy. Say what you're saying.
So what I say, what you said, what I say to someone like me, because my dad's mixed race, yeah, he's actually directly mixed race, yeah. Mom's black here. I'm proud of my black heritage, but I'm also proud of being Irish and being Chinese. So you want me to deny that other part of me just to be black? No. That's I'm not gonna go with that, I'm afraid.
No one's saying that. But when you say your dad's mixed race, what does that mean? What does that mean?
He's half. I told you this. He's half black, Guyanese, a quarter Irish, quarter Chinese, directly mixed race. Yeah.
Yeah, but so you're doing what we're saying, bro. You're really going into that quarter.
Well, no, I'm not. Because I did. So you're denying part of me just to say I'm just black. That's just not right. If you're doing black, then fair enough. Yeah. But if you've got direct mix in you, then why not just play the black, but also play the other part of me as well?
Can I ask Quincy, how close are you to these people? Do you see your black side? Do you see your black side part of the family more, or are you really closely linked to these other Irish and Indian people? Are they come to family functions?
Are you gonna let me speak? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm stopping.
No, because my dad's parents are both mixed race themselves. I mean, unfortunately, my dad passed away 3 years ago, and my granddad passed away 12 years ago. So obviously they're no longer here. But Yeah, I've got a close family. I mean, I've got a lot of mixed race cousins. I've got nieces mixed race. I've got two white uncles through my cousins. Their dad's white. You know what I mean? So what you can say? I could deny a part of my family just to please the narrative.
Well, hold on.
I'm not gonna do that.
No. Let's break that down, brother. You said that you have Chinese and Irish ancestry. I'm asking,
Yeah, because my.
Let me ask the question: are you in the Chinese community, Irish community like that? Do they embrace you? So when you go to the Irish community, they're like, "Where my brother's back, my Chinese brother."
Yeah, I met a lot of Irish people. Now when they because I got an Irish surname, yeah. So when they find out what my surname is, they embrace me a lot. So
they see you as Irish, do they?
Yeah.
And the Chinese as well, yeah.
I don't really talk to them. So that's
right.
It's one of those ones, isn't it?
Why not mention them? Why don't you talk to them?
I just don't like. I mean, my the closest Chinese I got to my grandma's half Chinese, so that's the only closest family I've got left because she's like 88 now. So, but yeah, I mean, when I chat to Chinese people, the ones I met, and they ask where I come from, I tell them.
Yeah. But I'm not talking about Chinese. I'm not talking about I'm not speaking of Chinese people that you meet or as you go about your daily business. I'm talking about family. How much of these family you're actually connected with that you claim are Irish? Well, no, but you're talking about people that you meet. I meet different people every day. Doesn't mean that that they're related to me. I'm talking about family. How much of the family do you actually communicate with?
But you're not letting me speak. You're talking over me, and that's kind of rude.
Go ahead.
I did let you speak. You spoke for a whole.
Yeah, but you spoke over me. I'm trying to get my point in question. You just talk over me. That's kind of rude. I don't like that.
Bro, Quincy, speak.
All right, okay. The only direct Chinese family I've got is my grandmother. She's half Chinese. She's still alive now. She's only 88. Well, she's 88 now. I've never met my great grandfather because he's obviously passed away a long time ago. But the only Chinese part, because what it is, my dad's dad is half Irish, half Guyanese, and my dad's mum is half Guyanese, half Chinese. So obviously my granddad's part, my dad's passed away. My dad's gone now. So my grandma is good. My grandma's still alive now, isn't it? And that's the only China I've got left. So
I'm sorry for your loss. And I'm sorry to hear that.
No, don't worry. It's okay.
It sounds to me like the only people that you really connect with was the people who were products of these relationships, but not the indigenous people themselves. So if you had Irish family, are you going to your white Irish families events? Are they coming to your events? Are you going to your white Chinese families events? Are they coming to your events? So it sounds like the only connection you have is with that parent who was a product of that relationship, but you're not like, for example, in the Black community, I'm sure you could tell me you see your Guyanese family all the time.
Yeah, of course.
You've probably been to Guyana. You've hung out at their houses. So this is different to just saying, "Oh, I'm this," but you've never seen these people. You don't know your family lineage on that side of the coin.
I get you saying. No, I'm not denying my blackness. I'm not denying my blackness to anyone. But also, obviously, my dad's directly mixed race himself. Yeah, so I can't discount him because some people say, "Oh, you got claim just black." No, because if if you're like myself, got a mixed race parent, a black parent, you should claim all you want. But what I'm trying to say to you, I'm not denying my blackness to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is, you're putting this emphasis on people who you. I'm not to be disrespectful to you, but you probably don't even know. I'm going to be honest with you. I've got white people in my family, and I see them at a funeral whenever someone passes, and that's it. I don't know them. I don't even
know them personally.
I don't even talk about it. Not really. No, I don't even talk about it because I don't go to their I don't go to their events. They don't come to my events. They come when someone passes away. But to me, that's something that's they do out of obligation. They don't invite me to their homes. I don't know their children or their offspring directly. And quite frankly, I think they want to keep it that way because they have excluded themselves. They have excluded themselves. And I think this is the case for most Black people, but yet and still we want to fight to claim these people. And I just don't know why. I don't know what the purpose of it is. What are they doing that's beneficial to you? How are they enhancing your life? I think you'll find that the Black people in your family are more of a benefit to you than anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I've got
one second. Just as we can calm down a bit. I'd say thank you both to both Fee and Quincy for giving the testimony, and we're actually making good ground here because you guys are two new speakers and you both have two different perspectives. And I'd like to thank you for coming on and But yeah, let's create this into a conversation where, like, Sister Fee Holy is saying that. I think what she was highlighting is, even though your ancestors or your grandma and parents were a byproduct of Chinese and this kind of stuff going on, but actually you don't find yourself in the Irish community in your family, as in when you go to a family's house.
Because my granddad's dead. That's why my granddad died. My granddad died 12 years ago.
What we're trying to highlight here, brother, and this might not be you, but we're going to tell you what we know, and if it falls in your lap, so be it. And that is, there's some people, because they practice a certain level of self-hatred, when they find out they've got a Chinese person, a great Chinese uncle, granddad, whatever it is, they all of a sudden become more Chinese than anything else, right? Even though they can't speak Chinese, and they won't let into the Chinese community, or even though their phenotype is just like every other black person from the Caribbean, right? But because they found their great granddad was half Chinese, whatever, this becomes like, they're literally, I'm Chinese, whatever, right? So, but they're saying there's a history of hate where this comes from, where hating either being African or black so much that you try to escape through other so-called lineages, right? And we see it many times.
You could blame it on the social engineering of the races, for the racist white man back in the day. Like for 500 years, social engineering saying that black is ugly and
I'm glad you said that, Quincy. I'm glad you said that, because that's what we started in these shows.
It's not. You can't blame us for it. I mean, it's ingrained.
Brother Quincy, just so you know, it's very important, right? This show starts by saying black people are collectively inadequate, but before that statement is made, that is a byproduct of systematic white supremacy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm going along.
Yeah, hold on. Systematic white supremacy has rendered black people collectively inadequate. So by recognizing that, we can come together, but we have to understand who caused it, and we have to understand how, as a group, do we work together. And that's why when we talk about things like black love and black accountability and black betterment building and black economics, this is the solution to the legacy of systematic white supremacy, right? But if we can't see eye to eye and we battle each other, this is what our enemies would want us to do. Because if we were at war personally and we went to war with the purple people and we want to destroy them, it makes sense for us to feed information that makes them destroy themselves, because that way we get our hands less dirty. And this is the byproduct of such plans, right? So we're trying to reverse it. So how do we reverse it? We establish what works.
I don't think it can be reversed though. Come on, you talk about 500 years, like we'll be dead by then. You know what I mean? If it ever happens.
I disagree, because change can happen overnight if everyone's.
It won't change. It won't. Yeah, but rap. All due respect, it won't happen overnight. I'm telling you. I told you before. The black community.
Brother Quincy, that's where people like me and you are different. As in your belief.
Yeah, we are different.
Of course, your belief
in that
is
sense.
nothing can be done about it. My thing is something can be done about it, and I try to demonstrate. This show is a legacy of that concept, right? As in, let's have a show dedicated to solutions that affect black people, right? So that's why the reason why we approach your situation of you not getting along with black people, black women, because we recognize that in the perfect black world that wouldn't happen, right? And we understand.
We live in the world, though, don't we?
But you've already said yourself, brother, that the legacy of systematic white supremacy has made black people collectively inadequate. So there has to be a manly division in the group, the leadership, to come forward and try to reverse that, regardless of how scarce the resources are, right? So rather than accepting defeat, we understand we're in a low.
No, don't accept defeat. Expect reality. There's a difference.
Well, actually, no, they're both synonymous at this point. But what I'm saying is, literally, we can recognize. So, for example, let's say that black people are 5% out of 100 when it comes to these operations in life, right? If we realize we're 5, then a success means 6. Once success is 6, then success could mean 7. And before you know it, success is 50. But if we stay at 5 and we go, it's never going to get better, what happens next year? We're at 4. We're at 4, right? But because if we, like, for example, if black men don't understand that black people are produced by being with black women, yeah, and this is a starting process of black economics, then what happens is, before you know it, we have certain situations where our richest men are marrying non-black women, right? And we're
but you can't control who black men date. If they want to date out, they want to date out. If they're staying in that race, they're staying in that race. You can't do that.
And how do we know? Because a few weeks ago we showed about Disney, and we understand that Disney want more homosexuals and more people to practice these kind of stuff and be comfortable in their skin to do this stuff. So they're going to control the media to make that concept. They're also going to control policies by making sure that people, like transgender people, come in and have dildos on their head and show women this kind of stuff and kids this kind of stuff. So we understand that by programming things, you can create a different output. The people who destroyed black people knew this. They took the name, they took your religion, they took your way of life, and they gave you ones that didn't work in your best interest. You see? So because we're aware of this, we're trying to reverse engineer that behavioral pattern and go back to what worked within black people's collective best interest. But you, at this moment, have a defeatist attitude. Me and you.
No, I don't have the defeats. I don't have the defeats attitude. I'll just speak the real truth. I said it last week and I say it again. It's not. You can't reverse it. It's far too gone now. You can't stop people from dating what they want. That's controlling, man. So you're saying that every black man should date a black woman on the planet? No, it's not going to happen.
Black Betterment, can I speak to the Sister Empress's points on IR dating? Yes. I think the reason why IR dating comes into the conversation is because the foundation of everything is family. So it does matter in terms of what types of families we're creating. So I agree with the sister that I'm fed up of talking about this kind of thing also, but I also recognize that it's very important to the foundation of what this channel is trying to create. So I don't think we can completely ignore that, and particularly with the levels that we have in the UK, it is quite high, and that is unusual.
No, I understand what you're saying about that, sis, and I actually agree. But what I've come to see being here and listening to different mindsets is that the narrative, when they see black people coming together to want to do something to help all black benefit all black people, they always push the notion that these people with this mindset, like myself, are fixated on the fact that they're dating or marrying or whatever outside of the race, right? But what I've come to see is that it is never my mindset bringing this to the table as the forefront topic and sticking on it. We've been here for over an hour and a half. There's been no talk about the solutions. This kind of this back and forth, there's nothing new that's been said here. Like you said, this is the same. I could predict the comeback talk, the talking points, the comeback talk, the talking points. And like you said, I'm just sick of it. I absolutely understand that it is the benchmark and it is important. But when we're discussing it, there's this kind of block off where it just stops at, well, I want to be with white. Why can't I be with white? What's the problem with being white? Well, it doesn't move from there, sis. It doesn't ever progress. And that is the frustration. And what is just, when I'm looking at it now, my whole mindset is really just as it should be, just developing on this and just realizing that when we constantly entertain this, as I said, nothing new has been said. Everything was pretty predictable, and there's no discussion on progression or the solution. Even if we want to keep it to the interracial topic, why aren't we going towards why isn't the discussion on the back and forth heading towards the solution factor, or if in acknowledging the fact that there's self-hatred in the community, or how we're going to conquer it? Like, do you understand what I'm saying, sis? I totally understand that this is the aspect, but the point that it stops at, I mean, how long is it going to just be at that same dead point? Like, the horse is dead, stop beating it.
Yeah, I completely understand your points, and I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
I've got a solution, guys. This is my solution, yeah. Black women should stop dating the fuck black men, yeah, and get them good guys, yeah, and have proper families. That would be the solution, yeah. Okay. That's why black men like myself dating now, because we had the crap, because we're not valued in the black community, and that's why we say, you know what, we're to the hell with it. We're gonna go date outside race that with women who appreciate us. That's where the problem lies, because black women don't appreciate good black men. They don't.
Thank you, brother.
I've been saying for years now. I'm sick to death just repeat myself all the time.
Hold on, brother. So I would like us to realize the trauma that's coming on here, right? And the thing is, because we're solution based, sometimes we might get slightly agitated when
I just gave a solution right here. I said black women should stop dating the punk black men, and then they have a solution. But you don't want to hear anything, and that's where the black community is screwed.
Oh, bro, you need to have a certain level of discipline just for 4 seconds. What I'm saying is this, right? we have to recognize the trauma that's being shown in. So there might be some agitation and frustration when we hear people speak this way, right? But what we're saying is we're going to try to backwards compatibilize what you're saying and try to find a solution. Not all black women know what you're saying, and also how you've interpreted things. There's many brothers who don't.
But you see it all over. You see it all the time. I said this for years, right? If you want a strong black family, black women should stop dating the thugs. Yeah, right. Get a good guy that's got education, he's got his head screwed on. That's not a thug. It's not a criminal. He's going to go somewhere in life. Then that's how you solve. That's how you solve the problem. But right. it's like black men don't want to listen. It's like, fuck that. Okay, hold on, bro. We want to date a thug man, have that fun. We have that fun years, and then when it's too late, no. 1 second,
because you're very passionate about this topic. So let's.
I'm not being passionate. I'm speaking the honest truth. That's what black people want to hear.
In fact, we have to meet you. I know you're passionate, but you have to listen, right? Let's have back and forth. Let's go for your paradigm. Let's say that what you're saying is, let's say that 100% of all the black women in the world want to be with thugs. We're going to agree with you now, okay?
Most of them do.
Oh no! Okay.
We know, and you're denying it. You're just denying it.
Now you said that. What is the strategy to make them find men like you more alluring?
I just gave you the. I just gave you strategy. I just gave it to you now. I just told you.
Brother, that's not a strategy. What you're saying is telling someone to do something doesn't work that way. There has to be a step-by-step strategy, as in, we put people like you in suits, African attire, we put them on TV, we have you smile, you have to go, you might think the thugs are good, but look at me, I'm so well-spoken and I'm so kind to people, I don't judge them, I don't interrupt shows rudely, and I'm the perfect husband. What is the thing we can do to make women go for the thugs and go for people, gentlemen like you? This is the strategy we talk about, because you're not a thug, are you, brother?
No, I don't want to be a thug either.
No, you're very respectful, aren't you?
I try to be.
Well, brother, if you either are, you're not. If you're not, then maybe would a woman want to be with someone like that?
No, but I'm a blunt person. I'm a blunt speaking person, and a lot of people take it the wrong way. But I don't really care.
Here's the issue, right? This blunt person does not want to care. This could be a contributing factor why many black women don't find you desirable.
I don't really care. I don't want them either.
Well, okay, this might be a contributing factor why non-black women find you undesirable, right? And you have a problem that is hard to socialize with. So by recognizing...
No, I'm a very social person, thank you very much.
But you're not demonstrating that at the moment, brother. You're not
demonstrating because you're not listening, Fat Raver. I told you, listen, black women stop playing for the thugs, yeah? Then we'll have a solution. But you're denial. I told you
brother,
this.
The problem is, brother, the problem is, what you're doing is you're trying to socially dictate your way. And the thing is, I'm giving you the power to say, let's say in your paradigm is correct. Let's say that 100% of women, go for thugs. Just telling them not to go for thugs isn't the solution. We have to have a campaign. We have to have a media strategy. We have to show what the benefits of not going for a thug is. There has to be work. One of the challenges many black people face is they don't actually value work. Not all, but many. And we're trying to change that. Maybe you fall in that category, maybe you don't. Let's find out, right? So we have to come together and work on strategies, right? Because someone has strategized to make them like the thugs. So let's strategize to make them like the non-thugs. Now, I'm saying that a thug isn't as valuable as you. So I'm trying to highlight your qualities. But when I'm trying to highlight your qualities, you're telling me, actually, I don't have those qualities. So I'm trying to determine what is the value of any woman being with you, Quincy 82.
Not me, because I told you who I date, and I'm talking for the other black guys, not myself.
So, brother, you've come on a Black Betterment broadcast. Right?
Yeah.
Where the goal is to find solutions for black people, and you've taken yourself out of the equation. You're saying that because black women said this to me when I was 10, 11, 12, I can never be with a black woman ever again.
I can't because by time at my age, remember, I'm 39. They've all got kids. They've all got baby dads. I don't want to be a stepfather. That's not my job. I want my own children, thank you very much.
There are plenty of women who don't have children. Not that there's anything wrong with being a woman with children, but I'm saying there's
a big problem. Because if you're a man, you want to build your own family. Why would you take someone that was a kid? Does that make any logic whatsoever?
Brother, let's make the conversation flow. I'm telling you, for being in the world and mean many black people, there are many black women in their 20s and 30s without children. So if being a father for someone else is a challenge for you, then there are women out there who are childless at the moment. So I don't understand, because obviously if you're saying that for black women, would that not be the same for non-black women as well, brother? When they
but listen, let me say something. Black women lead the world in single parent household. They do, and everyone knows that, and you can't deny it. Because a lot of us grow up in single parent home.
Once again, let's go with you. Let's say that what you're saying is correct. Who is going to fix this? The complainers are the leaders. Who's going to fix it? I'll give you two paradigms: the complaint community and the leader community. Which one do you want to be part of?
The what?
The complainer community and the leader.
I'm not complaining. I'm speaking what I see. I'm not complaining about nothing. I'm speaking what I see. What's going on?
You've got the easiest job of all time. You sit on the couch and give your opinion. But some of us actually try to work to fix so that you don't have that opinion, isn't it? Right? So if we see that, if let's just pretend and say that all black women are single parents, is this good or bad?
That's bad, very bad.
Okay, so what is to be done about it?
I just told you. I just told you.
Brother, let me make it more plain for you. Yeah.
It's like you're not listening to me. I'm getting off.
Brother, if me, there you go. The brother left. So let me finish what I'm gonna say. If brothers like me and him, and this is what this happens a lot when I like to think that his internet cut, maybe didn't pay the bills, but this tends to find when you get people who are dedicated to spewing a continuous narrative, right? Some people bite and they create arguments like you this, you that, and I say as black people, don't do that, right? Never do that. What you want to do is try to get them in solution mode. See how fast their brain can work out solutions. And what I tend to find is when you offer them a method of finding solutions, they disappear, right? And this is a part of trolling and stuff like that. But this is the best solution for people who think this way. Yeah. Do not be offended by their waywardness or by their confusion. Go with it. Give them the paradigm, and then go, what are you going to do about it? Do you want to work with us? And you realize that people will run with the killer speed of a millipede. And that's what happens, right? But the brothers always want to come back and finish the questions we asked him. But as you know, I have an arsenal of questions when it comes to people who are unsynchronized. And it seems to be the solution. It seems to be the outcome is the same. Anyway, welcome, Brother Issa, the Black Internet. How's it going? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, peace and love, peace and love. I can't even remember which part I wanted to talk on when I first came in. But based upon, the little piece that I've heard him say, and the solution thing you're talking about, it would seem that if we look at it from the perspective of the subconscious, if we have us being told to integrate as opposed to annihilation, where we're brutalized constantly by police and all other forms of torment and torture socially, psychologically, physically, etc., then it would make sense from a subconscious perspective dripping down to the conscious and then to the behavior that if you're integrating in society to try and keep that peace, the next step would be to integrate your genetics as well. And therefore, a mode of survival for, let's say, your physicality subconsciously would be to look more and more like the people you see in power. So that would be a means where certain people, and I couldn't believe it the first time I heard it from a black guy, say to me, he doesn't find black women attractive. And I was like, what do you mean? Do you know what I mean? And he, I had to ask him, you mean none at all? Like, no, just no black. And I couldn't understand his perspective. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, well, there's a range of features of black women, a range of hair textures of black women. So, and physicalities, everything, shape, everything. So it's not like you've got, only two types of black women. There's a range of features. So let's say you've got a black sister whose features are more Caucasian, but she's got dark skin. So then my conclusion is there, it really does pan into those words of self-hate, because it's actually the complexion that they have a problem with, and the identity of them being black, which for me, again, goes back to that subconscious thing where there's a kind of a little man in there that's very scared, and he basically wants to, submit himself, acquiesce his whole genetic data down to what he calls the master race, or his subconscious would call the master race. And I believe that's how it's come about, where a black man would say that.
Yeah, I hear that. And there's a question that was put by brother WIM and Raven. I think that by completely dismissing his complaint, you actually won't be able to even reach people like him. I don't know if just to be clear, maybe I don't know if you caught in. When brothers like that come in and they're very dedicated to one way of thinking, that they've been traumatized, whatever it is, I try to go with them and allow them to express it and invite them to find solutions. So I gave him his own paradigm, and I allowed him to say that what he's correct and the next step what to do about it. And he demonstrated that he isn't a solution-based person. He's more of a couch kind of complainer. And there's not much we can do with that because we are creating leaders here. We are creating like a movement of people who are dedicated to doing something. So, Raven, you didn't. Am I missing it? And now, brothers, am I wrong? Are you saying that when I said to him, when I said to the brother, let's go with your narrative, now what is to be done? Maybe I've missed this because maybe you brothers are part of his kind of same ideology. And if that's the case, by all means, jump in and let us know where, because don't get me wrong, we're about black betterment here. And I know some people might not be best pleased when a person is completely unsynchronized with black betterment in any form, yet we give them time. But I am at the mind that it is good to learn from those who are completely far gone so we can prevent either the future from being there or maybe offer them some kind of solace and some kind of way back to the fold. But maybe I've missed the point. But I like to think that we gave him opportunity and we said, let's pretend that what he says is 100% correct. What's to be done about it? But maybe my methods are this strange and alien and don't work. But yeah.
Let me
just Empress Kush, go ahead, Empress Kush.
Yeah, I just want to ask. So, do we even want to be reaching people like him?
Good point. So, this is one of this is a big question as a community we have to ask. Like when a person comes in with a certain mindset, is there a value or enough resources to try to reach them? I've always said, honestly, when I'm at speakers corner, these kind of places, people would tell me they throw books at the TV when I talk to certain types of people, and they don't understand why I'm wasting so much time with certain people. And what I just tend to say is, I talk through people to other people, because by allowing people to mention some of the unsynchronized things they say or this completely misjudged thing they say, you can offer a counter narrative, and so that someone else can see who they themselves might be thinking the same way as that particular individual, but they're not as far gone, and hopefully through them there's value. That's my strategy. It might work, might not work. We have to really review it, but that's why I do it. But to answer Empress' question, probably
can I go right quick?
I just want to say this point, and then please, Brother Stanley, and then you can come in. I was just saying it, not to be rude. I mean, it might have come off quite blunt, but I was just genuine with the question because he's come on and he said a whole bunch of derogatory things about black women. Number one, on a panel. He's come on with a certain attitude when addressing certain women on a panel, and he came on saying that he's with a white woman, and he chose to come onto a show that is literally called Black Betterment.
Yes,
it's all about self-hate. So instead of the question being about, well, maybe we should try and reach this person, it's like, what is the intent of somebody who is happily married into an interracial relationship, clearly has a problem with black women and only can say the bad things they do, and then jumping on a panel? Like, what point, like, where is the standards? Like, at what point are we ever going to move on if we're continuously using excuses to talk to people who clearly are not about it? Like, it's either you want to use your energy to consistently try to change someone's mindset, or you want to actually focus on a topic.
Say though, but one of the things is that him being kind of like the example of what we're talking about allows like demonstration of what we're talking about. So, if we were to all talk about somebody or a type of person and they're not there on the panel to respond to what we're saying, the people listening will be like, well, yeah, we haven't got the other side of the story. And he's the perfect example. And I personally believe he's not even that far gone. He's actually emotionally hurt. Somebody who has a something has happened when they're a child and they've got an emotional reflex that is so deep subconscious, it's just a reaction.
Okay, so he's hurt, he's emotionally hurt. We can't probably deal with all of that emotions on this channel and a panel or in a discussion, right? And another factor is that when he was on his show, there was no conversation to be had. It was just, oh, what do you mean by that? It was just snapping in, buttoning. It's just shutting down conversation. So what are you actually achieving having this individual on? Because while they're on, there's no way to discuss about his behavior or what he is, right? If you're talking that to say he is the example of self-hate, right? And he's on the panel demonstrating tactics that you can't even have a conversation with him. What are we doing?
But there has been conversation. He's responded to questions, and it's only when he gets to a certain point where his cognitive
It
dissonance
wasn't fruitful conversation though, bro. It was constant rhetoric that are just points that people could have predicted to come back with. They were classic, typical cliches of black women. Black women date drugs. But I mean, really?
Hold on. What I would say is I would have preferred a black woman divester than I say a black man, because I think the damage by black men doing this kind of behavior it has a long legacy, while the divestment community is very new. But I do feel that if we observe behavioral patterns, when I asked him to be solution based, and I didn't actually go with the back and forth narrative of angerment and stuff, he left, and that's very telling. And I know people might think it's a waste of time, but what I tend to notice is when these brothers and sisters jump on the panels, it's almost like as a community we get enraged by their choice rather than thinking this is an unsynchronized guy. Nothing he says should be of any value, and we're going to all be on cold and demand he gives solutions and see where it goes. And if we all do that, you'll find that brothers and sisters like that will be off the show within two questions. We don't get angry. We go with the narrative and we ask, what's the solution, right? And we try to unpack it, yeah. And then we realize that actually there's not much people can offer. They're almost like drones of pain, where they've been hurt by something and they just stay in that kind of drone forever. The brother said that there is no solution for anything bad. Literally, that's what he was saying, yeah. But Sister Christy is right. Like how we spend our energy is important. But brother Ita, there is value there by saying sometimes when we talk about a certain perspective, a certain angle, it is always good to see the angle act live, so people can get fresh within the thing. We're working as we go along. This is the work.
No, that's fine. And it's like no one did get angry. I decided to go on mute because I don't believe that black women should be interacting with someone who's saying all of those things and making themselves clear how they feel about black women anyway. I think that was for the men to talk to him with, so that's why I stayed on mute. Yeah. But I do think that having a woman from the divestment would be very interesting and I think more productive and insightful. But I don't think, and I've said this before, I don't think we can equate the two. Because one is, I think
honestly,
they're very different and have their different reasons. One's like, like women have quite recently talked about doing this, but when we look at the current way it's going, although that they might be, they're still not leaders in doing this. They might be talking a good talk, but there's. You know what I mean? So I just think.
Here's the challenge we face, Sister Christian. From my thing, a lot of black divested women are very, very untrustworthy of black people in general, and they're very secretive and they go in certain kind of groupings. And if you invite them on the show, they don't trust it. They won't come on. So, but the thing with the manosphere kind of men, they want everyone to hear their complaints. They want everyone to know their dissatisfaction with black women, whatever. But the divestors, they want to only be in their own comfort zone. And one reason is because obviously safety. They don't feel safe and they don't want to be shut down. So one thing I try to do in this place is let them know, and this is for everyone, that when you come in here, we're going to try to have a civilized conversation. We don't bully people into not giving their opinion, even though their opinions might be very, very painful. And that's a hard balance to get where someone is just spewing hatred, but we try to still understand it from their angle. It's very hard. It's a deep challenge. And maybe what I need to do at some point is just have a one-on-one. But as you know, with these shows, people jump on when they want, and they jump up when they want. And trying to book time with people is very hard, especially with these kind of controversial beliefs. Yeah. So it's challenging. It is challenging. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make some final points, and I'll hear an answer. Then I'll be off because I've got something I need to do. Really, going back to the topic of self-hatred in the Black community. Well, specifically about self-hate, I think what you try to do is point out a specific symptom of self-hatred. I think that self-hatred takes many forms, not just interracial dating. There are other things that could be pointed out. I think, quite frankly, again, I'll emphasize, I don't think it's a problem big enough to even entertain a solution. If you have self-hatred, there's really no solution other than, either working on yourself or getting into therapy or something like that. I don't know that a podcast is going to do it. I also wanted to to just add that when you say Black people, do you mean in a Pan-African sense, all Black people, or are you specifically talking about Britain? Because I pointed out earlier that I don't see what you're talking about in the U.S. Black community. And, even if you're right with the self-hatred part, I would be much more comfortable with actual data. I didn't find the videos convincing at all that there is a problem. The videos did not convince me that Black self-hatred is rampant in any Black community, and definitely not the U.S. community.
Hold on, brother. Let me make a quick answer to you, just to make it easy for everyone. When you read the title, it's pretty straightforward. If I can find it, give me 17 seconds. You use the word rampant and this kind of stuff, but it's very straightforward.
Well, yeah, I used it.
Hold on, family. Here it goes. What are the solutions to a culture of Black self-hatred? So
I don't think there's a culture. I don't think there's a culture problem.
All right, let me ask you
it's an individual problem, not a culture problem.
Let me say this, Brother Stanley. Sometimes things go unnoticed, and we have excuses for them. So, for example, in America, do Black people call themselves niggers? I'm sorry to use your word.
Okay, let me make it short.
I'm asking you a question.
Sure, they do. Yes.
Okay, stop. Let me go on. Now, that could be a culture of self-hatred where we've normalized taking words that is degrading, right?
Right.
As in that was the primal reason for doing it. And do it in every single sense of whether it's a peaceful gesture or a hateful gesture, you use it.
Right. But you use the word
as a culture.
You use the word could be, not is. And I'm saying it is not a culture problem. Just because someone uses the N-word doesn't mean they're self-hating.
Okay.
None of the videos you showed convinced me that there's a cultural problem.
Hold on, Brother Stanley. The thing is, you seem that you have a very consistent pattern of always we're trying to find solutions to things.
Okay.
That can be a 5% problem, a 95% problem.
Well, let me make one last comment.
There is a mistake in the premise. So when we
there's a mistake in the premise.
When we show videos of people doing it, that is a microcosm of it coming from somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay, but
hold on, let me finish. You can jump in. We're using that. Because basically we don't have a camera to follow every single person in the world, and it's very hard, especially trying to get shows. But we're going to show microcosms of this brother's talking about he likes being beaten and slave play. We know this goes on. We've had testimonies. We're going to think where does it come from? Is it beneficial? What's the solution if it ain't beneficial?
Okay.
So that's the simple solution, the simple thing to what we're doing. What you're doing, brother, is you're constantly saying that's not a problem.
I'm constantly saying I'm unconvinced by the videos, by the evidence you presented. It was not convincing. You're showing individuals. It is not a cultural problem. It is an individual problem. That is my point. That's my point in a nutshell.
Okay, brother. So for your sake, how do we help the individuals who practice that?
And I don't think you can.
Okay, so you and Brother Quincy are in the same boat. You're defeated.
No, actually, I'm not.
Okay, so is there any solution to anything we're talking about in the world? Do we have to just be open victims to
yes.
challenges?
Yes.
Okay.
The solution is to find actual cultural problems and fix them. What you showed me today with those videos and the evidence you presented did not convince me that it is a cultural problem.
Right.
Stanley, can I ask you a question?
Sure. Hello? Yes.
Okay. So do you agree that the words, although they may have a meaning in a dictionary, they can also have attached to them connotations broader than the dictionary definition, correct?
They can.
Okay, and that's via the use in the culture by the people, correct?
Right. But I don't think you can build a strategy on it could mean this.
No. I'm asking before I get there. Hold on. Before I get there, I'm asking, prerequisite questions. So as long as you agree that despite, let's say, etymology, its origin, hundreds of years ago, despite its definition in a dictionary right now, the usage of that word through a passage of time via its application is generally what it comes to mean via the usage, the intent of the people, and by, especially when it's naming words. So when you're labeling something and your treatment of it, if it's used to devalue the humanity of a people, and once it's spread amongst the people who are doing the oppression, it becomes a word and a term known to be devaluing, making sure that thing there is labeled by this word, which means it's devalued, subhuman, and mustn't be seen as something equal. Then knowing this is the way, or do you agree that N-word represents that?
I do not agree that usage of the N-word indicates a culture problem, and especially doesn't indicate self-hatred.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you a very simple question. And I see one of the problems is...
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, I'll repeat the question. Very simple. Do you agree that in the minds of the Europeans, let's say 100 years ago, 200 years ago, Europeans, especially in America, when they were using the N-word to refer to black people, it was a way and means of describing us as subhuman?
Yes.
Of no value. Okay, brilliant. So then as you move along towards the 40s, 50s, and 60s, they're still hanging black people, and they're still using that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it's clear that the meaning for all that time throughout the culture of white people in America, who also lived in the same country, under the same police, under the same so-called justice system, judges, prisons, etc. This word has that meaning because it comes from these people who are governing the black people. So if the people oppressed take on that word and now call each other it, what mindset are they having? Is not their paradigm and view using the glasses of those European self-hatred?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. And you actually said this. Words can change, can they not? Does the word mean the same thing back in the 40s and 50s? That is the meaning the same when it's used by a black person in America in 2022? Does it carry the same connotation?
I'll tell you, brilliant question. Although you didn't answer mine properly, that's fine. But the proof of what
I answered it.
No, that's fine. But you're proving my point now. Is it true or false that the main people that use these terms are people that shoot black people more than they do the KKK and any other white racist groups, neo-Nazis? Is that true or false? The people that mainly use that. And hold on. All right, the culture of people that rap and undermine black women and present them as prostitutes and useless, and the only thing they're good for is sex and blah blah blah. And do they not promote the idea of selling drugs to our people? Hold on, let me finish.
Can you make the questions short so I can answer them?
Jesus. All right. The culture, let's say rap music, let's say negative gangster rap music is predominantly the place where you're going to find the N-word used. You're not going to find it amongst the Hebrews. You're not going to find it amongst the Nation of Islam, Orthodox Islam, and in church. You find it in gangster rap, which predominantly promotes the killing of black people. Yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. So therefore, it's another...
Now can I move on with a counter question to your question?
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, Stanley.
Are you aware?
Wait, Stanley. There's some questions in the actual chat. Like people want to know what the concept of colorism.
I'm sorry. So
I'm not.
Go on, Stanley. Go on.
Okay, I was just letting you know so you can answer that part when you finish back and forth.
Well, let me answer. Let me ask you a question. I know specifically in America, back in the 80s, I think it was late 80s, where there was a whole movement in the American black community about taking the N-word back, basically assigning it our preference for cultural value. That's what I meant by the word does not mean the same thing when a black, I mean, that's the difference between Nigger and Nigga. The connotation has changed.
Well, hold on. Well, so we do want. So before you jump in, if Empress Christian wants to ask a question, she can. But also what I'm looking to check there is, when you say the words have changed, is it okay for Europeans to now call black people or white people to call black people the N-word? Is that okay now, Stanley?
Well, hold on. I said the connotation changed, not the word itself.
Right. One sec. From what to what?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Hold on. You said the connotations changed.
Yeah.
So you had the N-word previously, which meant black people are subhuman. Their life is valueless except for use of serving the agenda of white people and non-blacks.
Okay,
that's what it was before.
Let me point out, when I say the connotation changed, now there are two N-words. One ends with an A, the other ends with an ER. They don't mean the same thing.
Okay, so what are you saying they mean? Because now first you tried to say the word.
Okay.
Go on.
I'm saying that back in the 80s in the American black community, there was a movement to take the ER word and make it our own.
Stanley, I know that. What are the connotations that you claim have changed? You're saying, I've given you the list of connotations, which we've agreed upon, which was pre whatever ceremonies or whatever happened in whatever time you say. After that now, what are the connotations?
What are the connotations?
What are the, Stanley, what
You're
are the
breaking up
new...
a bit.
Okay.
At least on my end.
Okay, what are the new connotations?
You've been unsynchronized, Stanley, man. You tap dancing away from
Well,
the
the thing is the N word that ends in A can be used as a term of endearment in the black community.
Stanley, please. It's by the same gangster rapping community, that use this thing. Hold on one sec. It's filtered down from that same community where they try to pretend they basically from a weak perspective in which they could not stop the police from shooting them and doing all these different things, that they try to say, well, I can't stop them treating me this way. I can't stop them from calling me these words. Therefore, I'm going to try and accept it myself, and I'm going to try and change it so it doesn't affect me the same. That was a failed attempt.
Okay, well, let me point out to you that what you're saying, it may be true in your mind, but that's that's your opinion. And I don't happen to share it. It's as simple as that.
Stanley, listen to what I'm saying to you. I'm talking about practical. Stanley, stop. I'm talking about practical facts, okay? Where in their lyrics of gangster rappers, they spell it Nigga, exactly how you spell it. The same gangsters that talk. Exactly. So stop trying to pretend it has any different connotation.
What you need to do is listen to my answer. I'm saying that is your subjective opinion. If it's based in fact, prove it.
Stanley, listen to what I'm saying. The gangsters. What the hell? The gangster rappers of today.
It's subjective. It is your opinion.
Stanley, stop interrupting me. I'm saying you can go to YouTube right now. You can get one of these videos and go to the lyrics version where it has the lyrics on the screen, and you will see how it's spelt. N-I-E. Okay, hold on.
I agree with you.
Stanley, stop. Let me finish. I'm saying to you,
can you make it short?
One at a time, Stanley. Let him get out.
Raven.
I mean, you're going on and on and on about the same thing. Ask me a question. Don't make a soliloquy.
Hold on, Stanley, calm down. Everyone stop. Some order, please. Hold on. Brother Ken, do you have a question? Hold on. Brother Ken, do you have a question?
Raven, we spoke about this before, about the unsynchronized African descent. It's kind of clear what we really do need to do with them, brother. You know, we can look at it from a military way or a political standpoint. It's kind of clear, brother. I believe we should focus on how we can resolve the Rwanda benefit from allowing the UK prom. That is more like, because, you know, brother, it's I've said it before, and I was on Brother White Matters' show. And I've said it, brother. If you in an interracial relationship, you are, have a white supremacist mindset, religion, you're for other people, brother. You're not qualified to even speak on our issues, let alone even drop a word in. They're not qualified, brother Raven. So we shouldn't really allow them to speak on that issue. Brother Stanley, all due respect to him, he's not qualified. Neither is brother Quincy. And they're just, they're probably coming on here for some therapy, but it's not that type
no, sir. I don't come to this show for therapy, and any movement that's basing their policy and their solutions on YouTube videos, I'm sorry, I find a problem with that.
Hold on, Stanley. So what I will say to you guys, and remember, this is a community show where we want to use the community to find solutions. Now, a few weeks back, I did say about having segments, right? Because I tried to play chess vocally, right, or at least psychologically, right? And here's the chess. We find that many movements or ideas stays in the echo chamber, right? But at the same time, when you let certain people in, they can actually really ruin the energy, right? So I said there are two solutions. One, this is the two solutions, right? We have a Black people dedicated panel where there's a particular challenge that someone might be within, and we allow them on to express their difference of views, and we can just try to break it down and give it a certain amount of time. And then we have a section that is of the dedicated Black bearer, and anyone who's in that section has to be solution based, has to be pro-Black, has to be Black for all that kind of stuff.
Well, you mean they have to agree with you?
Of course, with Black women.
Okay, well, okay. At least you're honest about it.
So what I'm saying is, if we have two, if we, because once again, we are going to create the format that we want that works best for Black people. So at this point, I think there's still a value in unsynchronized people giving their testimony of why they're unsynchronized. So we can because here's what it is: the more you become synchronized, hold on, brother, let me finish. The more you become synchronized, the more you love Black people and you stay dedicated to Black people, the more you become further separated from other people who are completely in a different way. The only problem is those people still have influences where they are, and they could influence another person who could be a potential Black bearer. So there is a value in my mind of hearing their testimonies and why they are the way they are. But at the same token, I do understand that certain kind of behaviors can really undermine certain kind of things. Hence why maybe having segments where this segment is for the Black bearers and this segment is for the unsynchronized or the people with their own kind of behavioral patterns, whatever. And that way we can actually have more of a structure. But that's just my idea.
So that sounds like sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brother Kel.
Can you remember, Brother Raven, we are people, we are intelligent, sick people as it pertains to our post-traumatic slave disorder and colonization disorder, brother. And the unsynchronized Africans, unfortunately, they remind me of the common cold. They can easily catch it from them, and it can mess up your mind. So that's why in Pan-Africanism, Garveyism, bro, is that we separate. There has to be a division, synchronized against unsynchronized. They cannot be saved, brother, just like the non-Africans cannot be reformed from their racism. Those who believe in that, then they're going to have to find out the hard way, but they cannot be saved, Brother Raven, and I'm not willing to save them, whether they're male or female. If you have chosen to go against the best interest, even though you know what's going on in our reality and our society, you cannot be saved, and we shouldn't try and save them, brother. We're not Clark Kent, we're Africans, brother. All due respect.
Well, oddly enough,
hold on, Brother Stanley. Hold on, Brother Stanley. You can jump in off this. I'll say this. I can't disagree with you in the ability to reach people who are far gone. But remember, the goal isn't to convert them. I think when you see people like me speaking Speaker's Corner, the majority of unsynchronized Black people, I have no intention of reaching them. I'm speaking through them to other people and using them as a case study of what to do or what not to do when speaking to understand the mindset behind it. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't think people like in this particular forum really ever think we're ever going to make certain brothers and sisters go reverse, because like I said, they're here essentially talking against what we're for.
Well, can I offer an unsynchronized observation?
Let them know. Go ahead.
I called into the show, so obviously I'm taking you all seriously. So I mean, you know, I may be like a common cold, but I'm actually taking you seriously, and hopefully, you know, offering some constructive opinions. And I'm sorry if I offended.
Other brother Kevin Prince. Let me ask brother. So, hold on. Let me ask these questions because we don't get to ask these questions, right? And I think I've written here before. Give me 17 seconds to see if I have it because I delete things so quickly that I might have deleted it, and shame on me if I have. I bet I have. I really bet I have. Hold on, because there is a protocol. Here we go. Stanley, what are your views on black love? And let me break it down. Constructive black man with constructive black woman raising constructive black families, black people improving the realities of black people, and black people being respectful and honorable to black people. What are your views on those 3 points of the black love? What are your views on that?
They sound good.
Okay, because that's what this show promotes. Yeah. So
and I mean, I have to admit, disagreement isn't one of your bullet points, so I can understand your point.
I don't know what that means, but once again, let's just highlight the first one. Constructive black man with constructive black woman are raising the constructive black families. Is that a good thing for black people or not really?
It's great.
So should we promote that?
Yeah.
Not promote? Okay. So,
but I want to add something to my answer. I think you should promote it. I think you should address problems with solutions. My only observation is you would be more convincing with actual data than YouTube videos.
Yeah, but brother Stanley, here's the thing, brother. When you have a common cold on synchronization, is that whenever you the unsynchronize who are very suffering from that illness, when they cough, brother, they're talking. You see, you're trying to talk about solution, but you're coughing with the unsynchronization. So, whether you say
does synchronization not involve data?
Brother, the data is, brother. Remember, you said the word data. Videos, brother, can be classed as data. Do you understand?
I'm sorry, what?
Videos, brother, are brutal evidence. Yeah, it can be classed as data. The Europeans use it all the time when they want to when they want to assassinate our character. They use video data. You know this, brother Stanley. Books can be data. Hold on, brother. Books, videos, slogans, they can all be data to be used as evidence. The thing is, brother Stanley, all due respect here, because you have the unsynchronized code, unfortunately, brother, you're not going to be able to see the benefits. You're not going to see the solution because you're coughing on synchronization. So we've got the cure for you, brother. And the cure is you have to synchronize that code that you have in order for you to understand it. But because you're still coughing, brother, and I wish you the best and I hope you get cured, you're not going to see black betterment. You're just going to see on synchronization.
I tend to be convinced by numbers, statistics, YouTube videos. I'll put it to you this way. If I'm unsynchronized, showing me a YouTube video isn't going to be the means to my synchronization.
Okay, can I ask a question, please? Oh, sorry, Brother Issa. Do you want to go ahead? Because I know you've been patient.
Hold on. Before Brother Issa jumps in, a quick note. There's a link for you, Brother Issa, if you're on Discord, just so you know. And after you speak, Empress Christian has a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, my thing was just very quick. Basically, brother, if you look at it, YouTube is a very good place to do this, since you can upload videos and make commentary on them. You can upload pages which have statistics on them while you're actually talking and have a discussion. So you can put them there and discuss. So imagine we've got 6 people, or can have 6 people right here discussing proof, evidence, and data, and play the data. We can play people that are actually the scientists who've collated the data. There's people out there who've done the observation themselves, whatever. We can all do that on YouTube. So I'm not quite sure what you think is a better platform or a better means than YouTube, when you can do it in a few hours. What would take without, the social media would take years and probably months to spread that to so many.
If you put up data into a YouTube video, that's actually what I'm asking for.
Okay, now, cool. Empress, so Brother Issa, there's a link for you in the chat. The sisters invited you to the Discord group. This is where Black people find solutions. Empress Christian, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Yeah, thank you, Brother Raven. Excuse me. I did want to ask Stanley, Brother Stanley, what data, in what aspects do you want to see the data? Because you're saying that and I just want to say 1 second before you answer that, Brother Stanley. Brother Raven, I understand what you're saying, and if I'm still leaning to the point of, how I feel about it, but I can understand your reasoning behind it. But I think if you lead with those questions initially, that would make for a much more interesting and progressive conversation, because I think when you have free range, it's the typical, this is what happened to me when I was 16, all Black girls are this is what happened. It's like a whole, we have to listen to this whole like literal therapy session, and it's just allowing people to spew anti-rhetoric that really Black women should not have to listen to, period, and should not have to listen to when they come here. So I think that you need to be able to engage with those kind of people when they come on, and literally you have to structure the convo. You can't just let them have free reign. That's my opinion on it. And leading with those questions I think would lead to a much more interesting conversation. Especially I like the way that you broke down to him in regards to the perfect partner and his aspects and his characteristics, like things like that. I think it's just a much more better way, but that's just my opinion.
Well, let me interject. I mean, if we go back to,
I'm not talking about you. I was just talking about.
Oh no. I'm not taking offense.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, if we go to the topic of Black self-hatred, okay, well, none of the bullet points you showed me really address the problem, if it is a problem, and I don't see it. I don't see Black self-hatred is a huge issue.
Stanley, wait.
It's very individual.
Stanley, the sister just said something, pointing to Rap Raven as an idea, a brilliant idea of how when these guys come on and disrespect Black women on a public platform, it's not like this is not live on YouTube, which other people can watch, and therefore loads of other people. For instance, when the comedians started disrespecting Black women about their wigs, then white women and other people started disrespecting Black women because it was made public by Black comedians. So they felt comfortable to disrespect Black women. So she's giving Rap Raven an idea of how to deal with these types of people so they don't have free reign to go out there and disrespect Black women after watching a positive Black show. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I don't recall disrespecting anyone.
Respond to that, and then you come in with whatever your selfish self wants to carry on talking about.
Selfish self, huh?
Sorry. I'll take that back. This is Rap Raven's platform.
Yeah, no name calling, please. Brother Stanley, we try to be solution based. Big up Empress Kushti for the wise words. We try to be solution based, and I've seen a pattern that you tend to be more of a half empty person rather than a half full person when it comes to finding solutions. And I think perhaps what Empress Kushti recommended is what I should really practice on you, which I just did. And so I think that's kind of like how we have to run, because what Brother Kel's been around for a long time when it comes to seeing out behavioral patterns, and he's noticed a pattern where certain people are dedicated to just not finding solutions. Unfortunately, Brother Quincy, who jumped off when we asked him to define it, he is also from a pattern where you challenge him to actually, now that we agree with your rhetoric, now we see that you're 100% correct, what is to be done? And then once again, it goes back into the realm of negativity. The bad.
Can I offer something?
Well, go ahead.
Okay.
If as long as
I think when questions are asked, the answer should be short and sweet, not rambling.
Brother Raven, some people in the comment were saying that we should basically give the unsynchronized Africans a chance. There was something to do with church and mosque. And the thing is that when you are going to bring people to our liberation, and that is that you have to be very strict with them, because if they are half-hearted into it, they will bring that into the movement. And due to the fact that we're forcing them when they have the common unsynchronized cold with them, what's going to happen is they're going to keep coughing that on synchronization, infect the rest of the movement, and then we're back to square one. So we shouldn't give them any chances before. It's either you want to help out people, they make up
I think
excuses.
the question that he's referring to is from Brother Wim. Serious question and not trolling. Shouldn't the objective be to speak to unsynchronized people? Doesn't the church or mosque seek to convert non-Christians or Muslims?
Well, here's what it is, brothers. Yeah, what I try to do, and this is before that stage, with the separation of black bears and black bear builders, is showing the value of having levels and degrees. And so, for example, and establishing what this platform is. So, some platforms are outreaching, and some platforms are dedicated. Right. So we have to establish: is this both? Is this singular? Like, is this platform only for the people who are practicing black bear, as in like they're completely synchronized, and we're here to have a conversation about the next step, or is it a platform that is inviting people who are unsynchronized to express themselves and show them a direction of how they can be more synchronized with black bearers? And I think that's kind of like we have to, because like I said, this is a public thing where the synchronized people are going to choose that, right? But we have to ask that, what are we going to do now? Certain brothers are dedicated to circular talking, and that's why the what Empress Christie recommended is very valuable, because, and hence why it's on this PDF. By seeing where a person feels about something that is fundamental to the lifestyle, then it actually directs where we should be going and whether someone should be taken seriously at all.
Well, can I ask you a question then? Are you actually seeking to convince people to your point of view?
Personally, if I was to answer that, people have their own different answer. But for me personally, my thing is to find the most able, constructive black people in the smaller number to come together to work on institutions and media ideas and betterments and apps and all the rest of it, dedicated for black men. So certain people, unfortunately, it is almost like sometimes there'll be a brother who might be 7'8", and unfortunately, this brother has lost his legs through an illness, and he also hasn't got a wheelchair, and he's got no clothes, right? And now all of a sudden we're trying to make a basketball team. Maybe in a past tense he would be able to join, but unfortunately, there's nothing he can do to join our basketball team because he's got no clothes, he's got no legs, and he's got no wheelchair. So that's like a metaphor for what Brother Kel was saying, is that some people, they're so far gone that even though they want to dunk, they're never gonna dunk. Ever.
Right. And I kind of took the risk of even calling in. I would actually say that, sometimes people who may not necessarily agree with your point of view or are synchronized actually can make positive contributions to whatever movement, happens to be the topic. And I think, quite frankly, I expected better.
Brother Stan, may I ask you a question? One more question. This is very important because it's come. Brother Stanley, can you tell me one thing you have done or said that's beneficial for black people collectively?
Yeah, if you're going to talk about things in the black community that are a problem, present data to prove that it's a problem. I haven't seen that.
Okay, Brother Kelly, you have a question?
Yeah. Brother, you was talking about the divestment and the Manosphere group. You said he's going to bring them on the podcast, right? Brother, that's going to be another disaster again, because that's both of them clearly are unsynchronized, and they're going to cause a problem to the rest of us who want to be synchronized. Why would you want to bring them on the panel, brother?
Good point. So here's the logic in what I'm thinking, and once again, things can be reversed and changed. Basically, there is a so the divestment of the Manosphere, different things, whatever. But there is a reaction to a certain thing that's going on, and being aware of this certain thing, we can offer solutions. What I struggle with is there's a movement of people who've gone through an experience, and I definitely see the divestment community different from the Manosphere community, right? but they've gone through a certain experience, and this experience, for example, there are generally women, black women, and who are fed up, rightly or wrongly, with men who practice colorism, who undermine black women, who don't build, who might be violent, whatever it might be, and they might see this behavior quite consistently in certain areas, and their solution is to practice divestment. Now, obviously, for me, that is not a solution. But before I focus on the divestment part, I focus on the pain. What pain are people causing to make a person make such a rash decision that the solution is to divest away from their own people? So rather than just turn them into martyrs, I say, let me have a conversation to see if a solution can be done. If not just for that person there, but for the future generations who might go through the same thing. Now, maybe this is a bad idea, and maybe we need to have dedicated shows for this particular thing, like a reach out show, like Come As You Are reach out show. We have another show just for dedicated black betterers, and hence why I was talking about sections and segments. It is very challenging to manage. And Brother Kelly, I think you're saying is very valuable. You're correct. When you have unsynchronized people on the airways, that particular behavioral pattern can actually influence others, right? I can't undermine that truth. By the same token, there is a value in hearing the testimonies of the unsynchronized to see what has caused it, because people like us might not really know.
Well, let me ask a question. So it depends how we're talking about synchronization, right? Because say if somebody is a builder, right? So that individual, for example, under the guidelines, could be with a white woman, but could be doing stuff to help the community, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Right. So, and then you've got someone who I think is below that level.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to call that individual, where they just literally do not care about the community. They might know it, they might not know it. So you might have another level with the ones who know what they're doing and the ones that don't know what they're doing, if you want to go deep with in regards to psychology, right? But if a black betterer is still contributing in somewhat, then they would potentially, under Brother Raven's guidelines, would probably be able to have a seat at the table to suggest talk, right? But they'd have to do it knowing in a way how to structure themselves and how to communicate. Like, for example, I said in the chat, I can have a dialogue with Stanley because I'm not going to hear a whole bunch of you women just want to fuck. He's not going to conduct himself in that way. Well, I can't say what I've seen of Stanley thus far. I've not seen him do that, right? And that's why I can have a conversation with him, even though I don't agree with some of his points. But then when you ask him, is there a problem with Black love? And in the questions that you asked him, he answered the way that what we would classify as the correct answer. So I think that's where you're going to have make sure that you don't want to have too much of the blurred lines, right? Because what is the cutoff limit? How unsynchronized is it where you can come on this panel and start talking? Because then what separates you from what the problem that we're hearing from other channels?
Yeah, but
does that make sense?
But as I was saying before, right, to Brother Raven about the manosphere and the divestment, why they're both unsynchronized, because they seem to blame one another and forget that we are in a fishbowl created by white supremacy. And so you're going to hear inwards and not focus on those who have set it up and are controlling the narrative as well as our downfall. This is why I said it's going to be a problem. Now, when it comes to the unsynchronized, for example, Brother Stanley, with due respect to him, you were saying that Brother Stanley doesn't come in a very aggressive type of way. And the problem is that you don't have to be unsynchronized in an aggressive way. You could be in a calm way. And Brother Stanley and Brother Quincy and that, right? And you have to understand that it shouldn't be based upon, well, because he wasn't talking to me that way, I know I'm shutting down. You should completely shut down because he has no solutions. He lives in America and he believes that he has rights and is an American. even though all the laws typifies that the Europeans have more rights than he does, the ancestors in America then paved the way for all non-African people to even benefit, but yet still he classes out as American. He's disrespected the black woman many times and claims that there's no form of racism, let alone we need data to define what Brother Raven is saying. Now that, sister Audrey, that is full-blown, clear on synchronization. Now, Brother Stanley's a calm guy, but he still needs to be shut down because, you know, the moment he speaks, you know, it's on synchronization, or due respect to him.
Okay. Well, I hear what
Well,
you're saying.
you know what? I appreciate.
Brother Stanley, let me reply,
Yeah.
please.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. I understand what you're saying there, Brother Cal, but at the same time, you need to not underestimate the intelligence of us, myself, and other people listening. So, under the guidelines of knowing what Brother Raven wants on his show, and remember, I said my opinion. You know, I don't necessarily. It was clear today that I don't see the point of these people like, someone like Quincy coming on the show. Period. Yeah. And Brother Raven has explained to us his reasoning behind it. Right, and he said, "I'm willing to try it out, and if it comes back that it's not working out, and that it's more of a hindrance than a benefit, you know," he said he'll hold his hands up and he won't do it. That was his response to us. I think it's fair, right? So, to me, when I say that on his guideline that he's given, that he wants someone on, this is what I was saying to him as the level of degeneracy in my head is what you're going to bring on to this panel, right? Or on synchronization, right? So what I'm saying that if you're going to bring them on, there is definitely a difference in regards to being a black female listening and hearing someone constantly spitting rhetoric and stereotypes of black women on a show that's supposed to be for black betterment. There is definitely a difference than hearing someone like Stanley who is articulating his points in a way that he doesn't feel that he has to put down the black woman. Now, that doesn't mean that just because he's speaking in a way that is more appealing to the ear, doesn't mean that I can't see that what he's saying is still, to me, detrimental to our society or us as a people. What I'm saying is that the levels of, if this is what he wants to do, I'm asking Brother Raven to understand that there's levels to the types of rhetoric that we can hear, and I don't think we should just make it open to anybody to come up here. That they need to be able to at least articulate themselves and at least be able to conduct themselves and be able to have discussions with black men and black female in the same tone. And be able to hold a conversation without interrupting, without putting down black women. But that doesn't mean to say that just because he's on there, I want any of us to feel that that his views might not be something that we don't want to hear. And Brother Stanley is aware that I don't agree with his certain points.
But look at the
well, I'm aware that you agree with almost none of them.
Yeah.
I know my audience.
Right.
Yeah, but Mr. Kushley, look at the topic that Brother Raven came up with. How do we, the solution for the UK going to Rwanda? Now, that would have been a great to talk about, because
looking forward to
I
it.
believe the strategic for that would be where there's gentrification, we need to re-gentrify all that. So if some of us, as I said before, was to populate these areas, and even in the Caribbean, in the African American communities, to prevent the migration, because here's the thing, sister. If you look into 1882 to 1943 in America, the Europeans, once again, to stop black people from excelling in economics, they employed all the Chinese to go there. When you go into the Caribbean, particularly 1838, the Indians came there to populate the Caribbean to prevent economics again. And also we have in Uganda, the Indians again came into Uganda, and our, General Idi Amin, brilliant man, told them, if you're not going to put the money back into our economy, then you have to go. These are the things we're talking about, sis, like reversing gentrification, us populating over there. But if we're going to talk about the culture, no disrespect to Brother Raven, he's a brilliant man, about the synchronized Africans, sister, they cannot be saved, man. You know what I mean? And that they cannot be saved. They are responsible for the plight in America, in the Caribbean, in Africa. They are responsible. They are responsible for the black woman behaves that way, the black man, the children. We have to separate from them. I have no heart, let alone consideration for them. They are underneath my feet. Because
Are you saying,
Brother Stanley, the only living organism that goes against the best interests of themselves is us as a people. The ants don't even do it. The ants, there's different types of ant tribes, and they said to themselves, we're going to build the ant farm for the queen. You know, they don't ask the lions or the tigers or the butterflies. They want ants. So the unsynchronized Africans cannot be saved. Those who agree with me, then they're going to have to face the end of days, man.
so you're saying unsynchronized Africans are why the state of Black America is the way it is?
Yeah, they are that in the Caribbean.
Not just America, everywhere.
Oh
you marry out your race too much. You give all your money to non-African people who, by the way,
what are the statistics in America of people marrying outside of their race?
Who, by the way, brother,
being unsynchronized is not just only dating outside of your race. Stanley, why is it that's the only family? Is it just me, or is it like, why is it just the white woman? Like he said, unsynchronized. Like we're talking about unsynchronized Black people being the reason why we are not succeeding. How do you go to a white woman, Stanley? Look at the state of Africa. Look at the state of the Caribbean.
Okay, well, I'm kind of lost with this. I'm lost with your point. Where did white women come into this?
No, brother, you're bringing them in there. You again, brother. You bring them in there again. You know,
well, I didn't bring up white women.
Yes, you did.
No, you just did.
You said when Brother Cal was talking, you interrupted him to say, give me the statistics that this is because these people are dating outside of their race.
That's right. That's exactly what I said.
Right.
Okay, just because Brother Kale thinks it doesn't make it so.
No, I don't think.
So what I'm saying is that he's not just basing it on that. He's not.
Well, what is he basing it on? That's what I'm asking. What is he basing it on?
Understanding unsynchronization is just not about dating outside.
Brother Kale puts out an opinion, and it's like the Pope saying something.
It's not an opinion, bro. It's facts. You see,
I want to see the facts. What are the facts? That's what I'm asking you. Can you produce them?
Stanley, one sec. Have you looked at any of the population statistics of the UK? Have you ever looked at them?
I don't live in the UK.
Okay, good.
Why would I? I do not live there.
Calm down. All I'm asking, I've asked you a question. Now, are the majority of people in the hold on, are they white Caucasian people or are they Black people?
I know that 3% of the population is Black. That's about the only stat I know.
Okay, so you have looked at or found out something about the statistics, correct?
Yes, that little bit.
Okay, fair enough. No, the point I'm making is that there are some things that even though the statistics have said a certain thing, the way that the people that come across this information is actually wrong when you actually look at it from a holistic perspective. So even if we threw all these this data you're asking for in front of your face, it may not even be accurate from the sources that you might even recognize. What we're doing, what I'm basically saying is there's a certain amount of as you grow up, you tend to, learn things off kind of an instinct level and vibe and various other things, the way things happen. You may not even realize why you know things so accurately and can predict and guess things, but it just becomes the way of, dealing with life because you've learned so much or been in so many different situations. So what we're saying to you is that when you have what we call a microscopic example of something, you damn right you can see the ripple effects throughout society when, for instance, Rap Raven would put on the screen for you to see certain famous people only dating white people, and it's a pattern, right? Of
It's
them
a pattern
being
for famous people.
No, but that's the problem. Is it's not. So if for
Okay,
instance they said,
you
look,
have to prove that.
hold on, in a certain year, what they, let's say they observed and they done, you know, some sort of observations, and they found that 50% of black men that they heard asked these questions to, interviewed, etc., were actually dating
in
the
England.
UK.
In England, correct?
Correct. Hold on. In England, dating white women.
Not the
Therefore,
US.
bruv, hold on, man. Remember, the show is actually from the UK, but I'm saying even where you are, we can clearly see that you have many issues of self-hate anyway, outside of
But see, you don't live here. If I can't tell you how it is in Britain, how can you tell me how it is when you don't live here?
I'll tell you how. Hold on one sec. One sec.
You didn't even grow up here.
I suspect.
Hold on, wait.
Circular conversation.
To get him now. Hold on. I am on the level of intelligence, as are most people on this panel and most people listening, that we don't need to actually go to a country to actually know these particular things.
Okay, well then you've answered my question then. I understand you completely.
Interrupting. I'm saying even though I live in England, I don't travel to England every day. So I can't tell you what's going on in Manchester or Birmingham or bloody, you know, various other parts of England or the United Kingdom. So even though you say you live in America, hold on one sec, I guarantee wherever else. So I'm saying I'm absorbing the data of the US from the sources of knowledge that I can.
YouTube
And I'm
is
saying
not a source of knowledge.
I didn't even mention YouTube, bro. But anyway, the internet is a good source. And YouTube is a good source because you get not only audio, you get video. Hold on. All right, what's your sources of knowledge? Tell me. Let's hear this.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I don't tend to make broad sweeping statements because I watched it on a YouTube video.
I didn't say I did, but you assumed that. But anyway, what are your sources of knowledge?
I'm on YouTube.
I've asked you, Stanley, I've asked you a simple question. What are your sources of knowledge? Answer the question.
I Google US Census data.
Okay. So if somebody is talking about the same data that you have Googled and they're showing it on a screen in a video, how is it that you Googling it is more somehow better than me watching a whole video and then breaking it down and explaining the data?
I agree with you. My point is I didn't see that data and have yet to see it on screen.
Okay. I hear you. I totally, I have no problem with that point, but I'm saying at some point when, even if we show you the data, so are you saying if we show you the data, then you'll be on board, correct? Yes or no?
If you show me the data, I can't dispute it.
Well,
no. I didn't. I said, if you're shown the data, will you be on board? That's what I asked you. Yes or no?
At least on that point, yeah, I would be.
Okay, brilliant.
And this is the harsh reality that I'm going to say, and I mean this in the most kindest way. And I tried to give the analogy of the basketball player with no legs and no clothes and no wheelchair wanting to dunk on the dream team. He just can't. And I think, brother, sometimes we have to establish.
My intention was not to dunk on anybody.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you might not even be able to pass the ball. And I think this is the issue we're dealing with. Like, some people, they're so far gone in certain kind of things that they can't even receive a pass.
Hold on one second, brother. Stanley said, listen, Stanley has just said, on the points at which you show him the proof, he will be on board. He said this live, bruv. So to be honest,
and I meant it live.
Don't think, Rat Raven, we can of somebody.
If Brother Stanley's on board with the concepts we're saying that we're okay, so here's a concept. We're recognizing that many black men might suffer from self-hatred. Hence, it impacts how they talk on public platforms. It impacts how they pick their wives and girlfriends.
I agree.
Hold on. If Brother Stanley agrees, then what? How does he agree?
Okay, well, let me finish. I agree I agree that many on YouTube do. My point is many on YouTube do. That does not say it is a widespread problem in the general community.
So in order I have to be very honest with the things I give. And there was a sister who came on, Brother Fee, who came on. And I'm interested in her coming back because there is the build ratio within her is at a very high rate. Like, you know, she has a method, the way of thinking, and she also has purpose. She clearly states that she wants what's better for Black people, and she recognizes and is synchronized with what the show delivers. Unfortunately, certain other brothers, they're not really, like I said, they're operating under this no leg boxable player metaphor, where it's like even if they agree, he's now splicing the agreement to something even lesser, like, oh, I might agree that on YouTube it's an issue. But it's not necessarily hold on, brother, man. It isn't necessarily about if you agree with something, it's what is a solution for this challenge. You see? Regardless if 10 people do it.
Okay, well, you wouldn't like my solution.
Oh,
okay. You need to go. The solution is for you to call in to the YouTube shows that you're speaking of and chat with the host and give them your point of view and tell them why they're wrong.
Right. So we disagree.
Tell them that they are self-hating and give the individual host the help he or she needs.
Right.
Stanley, if we're talking about a community problem or a set of community problems, not the people on YouTube, we're talking about people outside. Maybe they don't use or watch YouTube at all. We're talking about how can we help them? Okay, how can we sort community? Yeah.
I'm saying that there are people out there who are self-hating. I agree with that.
Okay, good.
My point is that it is not a large problem.
Stanley, whether we've got the heavy numbers in this with this particular issue doesn't matter. The reality
Well,
is
obviously it doesn't matter.
Sorry?
I said obviously it doesn't matter.
So why are we arguing the point in regards to numbers?
I'm not arguing. I'm saying I would be more convinced if I saw the data. That's really my only point.
I don't think this subject is about convincing you on numbers of how high numbers are and how low numbers are. You and I both know, I'm going to say it, that there is an issue with colorism amongst your community, my community, all over the globe in regards to Black people.
I agree with that.
We need to take it seriously. So we don't need to look into numbers at this stage. It's important that we kind of look at the solutions.
But you know what? The colorism problem that you speak of, actually, there's a set of data out there to prove your point.
Okay, great. And that's fantastic. But we need to look at solutions at how we can eradicate this and change this and make a change for our people. Would you agree with that?
Okay. And I'm saying that you can't give a solution if you don't know there's a problem. The way you know there's a problem is with data.
I think at this stage, us just having that conversation regarding colorism and knowing that that's an issue, we don't necessarily need data just to have solutions. If we want to talk about numbers and how far we need to reach out there, then we can go down that road of bringing in data. But at this stage, it's just taking the issue seriously and trying to find a solution. And I think that you want that.
I think colorism is a problem. And I would love to know what the solution is.
Good. Let's know. Okay, we can.
I'll give that to me.
Yeah. So the solution is we practice. We create Black media companies, and we control the data that we push out. We try to heavily influence what our parents give to the children and to the family, and we have codes of conduct that work in our own best interest. We do this as a community. This is one solution. Yeah. We also try to have influence on influencers to let them know about the issue and to say that when they talk, can they talk in a way that works in Black people's collective best interest. This is just one solution and actually tackle it head on. I think I showed the video before of this. I always bring up, but the Disney company behind the scenes, they were actually trying to get more homosexuality on TV. because they wanted to normalize homosexuality in households. That was their agenda, and that's what they put time, money, and effort in. So we know that when people own media stuff, they understand how to feed narratives to people is by making shows and having dedicated plots. Bill Cosby understood this before when he was trying to paint a certain picture of the black family. He understood by how he puts out content, it has influences, and it will have a legacy of that. So these are strategies that I would personally push forward. Yeah.
Okay.
What's his name? Brother Stanley, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. A lot of the time, you can see, for instance, that these issues of self-hate are manifest in the black community without any statistical data, just by noticing how our economic situation is and how we support black businesses or don't support black businesses, how we interact in relation to unity or against each other in violence, how many fights we may have over small things and how they escalate from, you know, the most basic things of arguing from road rage and ended up shooting each other. So clearly these are examples of self-hate. Would you not agree, Stanley?
I would agree in a broad sense. However, I would say again, just because somebody shoots somebody doesn't necessarily mean they hate themselves. They may hate the person they shot.
Okay, can we now, hold on, brother, can we now, on the last few seconds,
He would want later for
hold on the last few seconds, can we,
also
hold on, I think I'm
on data on black economics.
Hold on, brother, hold on.
I think Raven's trying to talk, family.
I think my fingers messed up. Yeah. What I'm saying is, here we go. I think it works now. So for the last remainder of the show, can we? I mean, I had a video that I'm not going to show because it's probably too long, whatever. But can we maybe just briefly mention the Rwanda situation, what we know about it, and just our thoughts on it? It's obviously early days, but for those who don't know, I mean, give me 17 seconds. Hold on, let me see if I can give you 17 seconds. I think it's this one.
Now, on the government's new immigration policy announced earlier today, the Prime Minister revealed details of this controversial new plan to fly asylum seekers to Rwanda for processing in a bid to tackle migrant crossings in the Channel. Boris Johnson and Priti Patel say that this deal will stop people smugglers exploiting vulnerable people and turning the Channel into a graveyard. However, charities have today slammed the move, describing it as a cruel and nasty decision that will fail and only lead to more human suffering. Well, to give us the perspective from Rwanda, joining us from the capital, Yolanda Makolo, spokesperson for the Rwandan government. Ms. Makolo, good to see you this afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Why has Rwanda built this partnership with the UK to take in asylum seekers? What's the benefit to Rwanda?
Rwanda has a strong record of receiving migrants and refugees. For the last 28 years, we've hosted more than 130,000 refugees from neighboring countries. We've also more recently welcomed refugees from evacuated from dangerous situations in Libya and other refugees, including Afghanis who live with us in our community. So we have this long experience in welcoming and hosting refugees here. We also have the experience of being refugees or displaced because of our recent history of conflict. So we know what it means to be desperate for a safe haven and for opportunities to live a decent and dignified life.
From your understanding, those that have flown from the UK to Rwanda, are they on a one-way ticket? Because we heard the Prime Minister say that they will be processed in your country and that they should be encouraged to build a life there. Is that your understanding? If they are proven to be genuine asylum seekers, they will not be allowed to return to the UK?
Yeah. So This migration and economic development partnership that we just agreed and signed with the UK today is a new innovative model where we will offer safety and protection to migrants who will be able to make an asylum claim here and offered protection even if their asylum claims do not go through. They will be allowed to stay here and make a life here, and they will be offered legal pathways to residency and opportunities to develop themselves alongside Rwandans.
But people have a legal right to seek asylum in whatever country they want. And if they've landed on the shores of the UK, international law says they have the right to seek asylum in the UK. If they are flown to Rwanda, processed and found to be genuine asylum seekers, will they be allowed to return to the UK?
Rwanda is a signatory to the Refugee Convention, and we have an asylum process of our own. People are entitled to safety and they're entitled to seek asylum, but they do not have an unfettered choice of the country that they go to. So we are offering safety and protection here and an opportunity to build a decent and dignified life.
But international law says that people have the right to seek asylum in whatever country they want. That's where the confusion is, because we're talking about people who are coming to the UK to seek asylum. Then they're being taken to Rwanda to be processed. What I'm trying to understand is, what's the legal basis for what's happening here?
There is a legal basis for this partnership. There are no international, we're not breaking any or violating any conventions. People do have a right to seek safety and asylum. What international law does not say that they have a choice of country to go to.
The British Prime Minister has said that he's expecting court challenges. So this is legally complicated. It's not as cut and dry as you land in the UK and you head to Rwanda and that's where you have to seek asylum. It's not that cut and dry.
It may be not. We're clear on what we want with this from this partnership. We want to provide a solution to a global problem. Working with the UK, we want to offer safety to migrants, and not only asylum seekers. A lot of asylum seekers are not actually refugees, but it doesn't matter. Everyone has a right to live a decent life, and we believe in Rwanda that Africans and other people from elsewhere should be able to live a safe and dignified life here and be offered the opportunity to thrive.
Let's talk about that opportunity you say you're offering of a safe and dignified life, because a lot of charities have called this move to take asylum seekers to Rwanda wrong. They're pointing at your country's human rights record, saying
Isn't that what they say here?
Rwanda does not have a good human rights record. Human Rights Watch says, several high-profile critics have been arrested or threatened. In 2015, relatively recently, a UK judge refused to extradite 5 men to Rwanda because she argued it's an authoritarian, repressive state, stifling opposition, and is suspected of threatening and killing opponents. People have been tortured in secret camps. Can you address those concerns?
Well, no one is more interested in human rights than Rwanda. For the last 28 years, we have built a country that is united, a country that is stable, and that has where Rwandans believe and trust in the government. We have built a functioning government that provides services for Rwandans, and they trust our government programs. For instance,
we can pause there. Welcome, brother, Mr. Pilu, to the thing. Do you have an opinion on how does Rwanda benefit from allowing UK-prone asylum seekers to live in Rwanda?
Yeah, because if you have how you doing, how you doing, Black Betterment? Remember I told you I was gonna come and see you on Why It Matters, but thanks for having me on the panel. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I never heard about it until you brought it up. But it's an interesting idea because it would deter a lot of people from seeking asylum who don't really want asylum. Because if you really want asylum, because I think though it's a smart plan that the British did. That was a real smart plan because a lot of people just don't really they just want to come to Britain. They come to Britain and get it, and just to get in, but they want to say, oh, they're doing asylum. So then they're forcing you to say, okay, if you want asylum, do it in Rwanda. But then I know they're paying Rwanda for it. They're gonna be paying Rwanda for all the stuff. So it's a smart idea because what's really gonna happen is that everybody who doesn't really want asylum is gonna stop trying to come to Britain. That's basically what's gonna happen. So it's basically a deterrent. It's more of a deterrent. It's more of a deterrent for people who are not really serious about really having somewhere to go.
Brother, feel free. Yeah, Anyone want to add to that, brother, about anything towards that? Anyone else on the panel at all? Any opinion?
Yeah, I think that's actually quite funny, and seems very true. What is interesting is that the way that they speak about any part of Africa, really, but specifically, obviously, we're talking about Rwanda. It's like, I don't know, like a dumping ground. It's like an extra piece of land that they can say, yeah, we can do this. Although they're saying there's an agreement and stuff, it's more amazing the way that they just talk about our land as being, extra pieces of like a hard shoulder on the motorway, you know, place over here and excess.
One research I'll have to probably start doing before Kushti jumps in is establishing the types of people that are trying to get into the UK. I know some are Syrian and this kind of stuff, and then find out what are their views on African people there, because their intention was to come into obviously the UK. If they get moved to Rwanda, it'll be interesting to know their views because in most countries they don't have the best views on African or Black people. Empress Kushti, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you this though. I don't think that's really the issue, because if they're coming, they're really beggars. If these people are really beggars and they're refugees and need asylum, they need to take whatever they can get. If you really, because look, like for example, a lot of my family is refugees. I come from war-torn country. I was born in Sierra Leone in the 80s, and then we had a war, and my family fled the war. I was one, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just saying this to say this. My parents fled war-torn Sierra Leone when I was a child, right? And if you're really an asylum seeker, you don't care about all that stuff. So it's basically to stop all the asylum seekers that are fake, because a lot of people just say they're asylum seekers and they want to come say this other stuff, but they want to come to the UK and get on the dole or get on whatever want to get on an advanced country. So the whole thing is just a deterrent, so people start coming. It's a smart idea. Like they should have been done this a long time ago. I would have been something like this a long time ago. And if I was
Just Empress Kushti to say something before she does. The area I want to think about, not necessarily it's a good strategy by England, whatever. It's how does Rwanda benefit? Also, the people who are coming into the country who are going to end up staying there. What are their views on the people in the country? Because their views will dictate how they interact. Now, as we understand in East Africa, there's many people who come from outside Africa who form their own communities and will just do their own stuff and not include any of the Africans at all. But before we even get there, I think Empress Christian wanted to say something. Go ahead, Empress.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, I'm definitely not thinking on the side of how it benefits the UK whatsoever. I could care less. But I am interested in regards to how it affects Rwanda. And I did at one point initially when I looked at it, I thought like, yeah, this looks like it is literally just they're just dumping them there, and this is just another rhetoric that they could say to the people who don't really know nothing about politics and just read the Sun, and that dominates their mindset that okay, now the government's doing something, when actually when you look into it, they've gone to the borders and they've actually told people, and you've got to think who are the type of people that are going to be coming to Rwanda, right? Because then they're not just going to be African refugees. They're going to be, I think they were saying Afghanistan, Syria as well.
Yeah.
So what I saw is that they went to the borders and they spoke to the people who were literally in Calais and people that were in Dover. They were literally crossing the borders, and they said to them, "Do you know that this is now in place? This is now law." That if you get caught, you can go to Rwanda. And this was an Afghani man, and he said, "What?" He was in shock. So basically, what the report was saying is that they just got bombarded with so many questions, like who does this apply to? When did this happen? You know, they were just asking the reporter so much questions. And when they calmed them down, they said to them, "Okay, so how do you feel if you get caught? You go to Rwanda." He goes, "Well, why would I want to go to Rwanda? I mean, it's more worse than where I'm coming from." Right? That was his record, this Afghani, right? And then they said that, okay, well, is it going to deter you? And they go, no, we're still going to do it. So this notion that it's going to deter or help the UK in any sense, it's not going to. they've all said that they're still going because they'd rather take a chance and go. And this looks like something that's been done before. So apparently Australia's done this before, and it cost them $1 million per person because they're talking about flying them out. They're saying that basically they'll catch you, put you on a plane, and fly you out straight away. They don't have to check if you're a genuine asylum seeker. They don't have to do any of that. What they were saying, and what it showed in that report that Raven showed, is that what they're saying is that they will technically process the papers once they've landed in Rwanda. And even charities are saying that there's no way they're going to do that, right? So there's just an excuse for them to just literally grab them and then just ship them straight away, or put them on a plane and take them straight away without even having to check if they're genuine or not. It's just making sure that they don't touch land. And apparently Australia has done this before, and it cost them $1 million per person. And they've stopped doing it effectively. So they did this plan, they tried to do it, and it didn't really work. So,
and let me ask you a question. Did it cost us? So you said it cost Australia that much money? Australia was paying the bills, or was the UK bill paying the bill? Like who was paying the bill for that? Who told them to send it there, and who's paying the bills?
So this notion that they're setting up, that Raven just explained, this is nothing new. They've done this before in other countries. Australia has done this. They've said that it cost them, when I looked into it, around £1 million was the average cost on doing it. And they've effectively stopped doing it or slowed it down.
It costs who? It costs like who paid it? It cost Australia?
Yeah, the Australian government who's already done this.
So the Australian government, so Britain wasn't paying us. So this from Britain was sending him to Australia, right? So Britain wasn't paying Australia.
No. Australia, as a sovereign country, tried this initiative already. So when immigrants came on boats, they had an initiative to ship them out, to fly them straight away, and they've stopped it because they said
To where?
I'm not sure where, but they said it wasn't effective.
Because I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. Because I know one time when they was having refugees in Australia, they were sending them to like Solomon Islands or Fiji, one of them islands over there. I don't know what is the same thing. I don't know because they have because you have to get Pacific. Because
that's just one aspect of what I'm saying. So I don't want to be stuck on that. So you can look it up, yeah. But what I'm saying is that on that aspect, to me, number one, the type of people that you'll be sending off, when the guy was in the camera just saying that, and remember, he's an asylum seeker saying that this country is worse than when I come from, it's already setting off alarm bells for the type of people that they'll push into this country of Rwanda, right? And then I've just looked it up now, and what I've seen from what I'm looking up, I think that the government's paying them, 120 mil to take these people to do this, because obviously you can imagine if you're taking people, that's expense. People need to be fed, watered, sheltered, clothed, right? So they've got this deal with this. So it's not like the UK just said, okay, we're taking them and we're just shipping them off and it's okay. They're paying them like a good amount to do it.
But, hey, Christy.
Yeah.
Why do you think Rwanda agreed to it?
Do you know what? That's where I wanted to get to, right? That's my whole thing, because okay, the leader, Kwame, in most pro-black areas, he's considered one of the good leaders at the moment. You know, Rwanda has transformed themselves from the genocide that happened in the 90s, mid-90s, I think it was 94. You know, the city is one of the cleanest cities in Africa, even in some Europe countries. He has a thing on and every month where everyone has to get up and clean, and it's mandatory that everyone has to clean the country, like clean up the litter in the country. So that country has done really well considering it's come from genocide. And now they're saying that they're but I don't know if it's about the money, because apparently they've done this before. Please look it up, right? So everyone should do their own research. But apparently Israel did this with them. So they did this with apparently the Ethiopians, and I can't remember who else. So all of those people who were going to Israel had this going with them, where they would send them straight to Rwanda. So this is not new for Rwanda, right? But the reason why Israel stopped it was because apparently they'd be sending them over. When the refugees hit Rwanda, there'd be no help for them. They're destitute. So this is again with the human rights and the things that she was mentioning before in the news article that Raven that Raven showed. But then I looked into it a bit more and I found out that I think he's in Jamaica, or he's just been in Jamaica for 3 days. And his whole thing was saying that he wanted to encourage Jamaicans to come to Rwanda. Okay. So I think there's a deeper plan to what he's doing, because although it's a small country and you can almost predict that kind of rhetoric of, oh, it's our country, they're going to invade, you know, that typical mindset. But with this person, he's clearly, like, if you look him up, you'll see loads of videos of him talking against the West and talking about doing independence. And that's what he was saying in Jamaica. He was talking about doing an allegiance with the Caribbean and the African unions. So I'm on the notion that it's 120 mil. Apparently, another narrative is that they're going to also support them in regards to building up educational schools and things like that. So I don't know if it's mainly about being strategic and thinking, okay, this is 120 mil that I can get from a Western country, right, without having to go to the banks or whatever, and I'll just bring them in. Whatever happens to them, happens to them. Like, if I'm being honest with you, that's what I think. I think he's just being strategic here.
Yeah, there is definitely a financial element to this.
Yeah, because look, because I pretty much can see. Okay, because I'm trying to see, because I don't see them doing it if the UK isn't paying them. I don't see like the only reason I'll even imagine he decided it because he's getting paid by the UK to do that, and I kind of understand why you would do that, because he's trying. Okay, they say they come there, the asylum seekers, then they go. Then what they're gonna do then? They'll have to work. They'll have to start businesses. I mean, it depends. If he thinks those people are going to be productive people that might start businesses, and immigrants do start a lot of businesses. And if you have a country like Africa, where not that much where they don't have like a benefit system where the immigrants could live off of, they would have to work. So they would have to find a way. Look, even in Sierra Leone, right? In Sierra Leone, the most productive citizens are the Fulas, right? One of the most productive, and they're like immigrants from Guinea, because during the time of the old ruler of Guinea, Sekou, he hated the Fulas and he was persecuting them, so a lot of them moved to Sierra Leone. But they're like the most productive citizens because they work. They ain't got nothing. They have no land or nothing. They have to work. So even me, I'm an immigrant in America. I live in DC. Immigrants work. So it depends. And even if you look at East African history, if you look at the time from Idi Amin, like for example, Idi Amin kicked out the Indians. They literally lost 90% of the tax base, and even now they're still trying to get Indians to come back to Uganda, and it's still 90% of the tax base, even the truncated Indian community they have now. And if you go to like all them countries like Tanzania, Kenya, they still got a lot of Indians and got a lot of other minorities that work. So I think he thinks it's going to diversify his economy, diversify everything. And so the main problem we have immigrants is that they're using the system, but some countries like Africa, who don't have like a welfare system and stuff where the immigrants could feed off of, is not really. I don't think it's gonna be that much of a problem. It's only a problem with if they're feeding off the system, because like I know Western countries, they have systems they can feed off of, but in Africa they don't have any of that stuff. So all the immigrants are basically have to work. They have to work to make a living. So I mean, to me, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. And it's going to deter everybody who doesn't really want to leave. Because a lot of people just want to say, "Oh, I need to get out of my country. I need to do this and this," and say I need asylum. So everybody doesn't really want to make a new life for themselves. All of them will have second thoughts about trying to go over to England. So I mean, I would have done the same thing if I was a British in Kigami. It's actually a good idea.
Great, thank you, Rob. So family, we're going to come to the end of the show now. But let's just attach have a final thought. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to summarize, I think it's definitely an economic move by Rwanda, and I think Fiona made a point about it being for investment purposes. Paley made a point about it boosting the economy, trade deals, but I think in terms of what it will do to the people of Rwanda, because like Paley said, in Africa as an immigrant group, you can't afford to not work. It's happened in the Caribbean, where I've kind of discussed with many Caribbeans that were on the ground in Grenada, have mentioned that the Syrians have taken over certain institutes and are in the Caribbean currently as an immigrant group, but doing extremely well. So I think in terms of the people around, they have to put pressure on their government. Wherever that money is being spent, it needs to be spent on them. They have to be prepared for possibly gentrification in certain spaces, in certain institutes. And they have to have to think on their toes. And yeah, it's a bit disappointing. Definitely, it's a massive play by Boris. In terms of, I do think he is trying to deter people and push them out. But the concern is for the people of Rwanda, the sub-Saharan Africans who, are going to possibly, struggle at some point with this. If there's a massive influx and it's heavy numbers coming through, we need to kind of think about them, but they need to think about themselves more so.
Thank you. Now, as this still develops, we'll bring it back for maybe next week or the week after, depending on how we want to do it. Well, we are kind of at the end of our show at the moment. So if anyone's got any last thoughts, please say it. If not, we will end the broadcast and say thank you for everyone who contributed. Okay, in that case, I'd like to say thank you to everyone. And next week, please don't forget, in the group there's a dedicated Instagram page. Please follow the Instagram page. Please like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. But go to the Instagram pages. That's how we promote it. And yeah, there you go. But until next week, have a good one. Black Betterment, thank you very much. Oh yeah, there you go.